Ain't a whole lot. It should be live, man. What's going on with you?
Chilling, bro. Just relaxing today.
Oh yeah.
Let me turn this down a little bit.
So what's your schedule like on Thursdays? So you usually be free on Thursdays like that?
Some Thursdays, not every Thursday. I I drive out of town. Like last night, I was out of town or whatever, driving for my job or whatever. Uh, and I get in late, so I just take the next day off, and kind of relax.
Oh,
So yeah,
okay. Okay. You got it free like that. You got that option like that, huh?
yeah, it don't happen every week, but you know, every
Oh.
now and then I have an extra day off.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's what's up. What's on your mind?
Uh, Flat Earth, I guess. I
Oh,
like the
okay.
fact that you got other topics in there, man. That's what's up, man. Because I think flat Earth, it encompasses uh a lot of things.
Okay, like what?
Well, for starters, let's see here. Uh, one of the problems I could say I have with people who hold on to this globe belief. I guess the topic can be like skepticism. Like we talked about 9/11 before. And you said you thought that was a pretty heinous act by our government, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, like with me, when that happened, when I came to that light of, it being an inside job or whatever, I mean, I was a full blown skeptic after that, and I think that that's justified. You're not just gonna, what I'm saying, kill 3,000 people in my face like that, and I don't blink an eye. You know what I'm saying? I
Yes,
think
sir.
that that's a problem if you're not a skeptic after 9/11. So
I feel you on that. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean that's the premise is that something that crazy being done by your government right in front of your face. It's like, man, I can't trust you as far as I can throw you after that. you know and that's led me into flat earth. And I think that anybody who kind of went on that path, and I think a lot of people have, you know I think it's justified, man. More power to them.
Well, me personally, I was a skeptic before 9/11. I've been reading conspiracy books since 95. And during that time, reading these books, I mean, it put a lot of things in your head, no doubt. And it's hard to shake them, especially when you see corresponding evidence for what is being presented. So for me, I was a skeptic long before, I didn't say long before, but a few years before 9/11. Now, when, and this is one of the things that I see among the people in this debate, flat earth versus globe earth. In other words, I'm not saying it's not, but I have yet to meet and to even hear of a flat earther that doesn't believe in God. Okay, that's one. Okay. So what I'm saying with that is that it tends to follow the lines that those who are accepting flat earth as a belief also believe in God. Now, I'm a believer in God as well. I'm a believer that there is a creator. However, flat earthers seem to be almost 100% on the side of what they call, to a degree, a theist. You don't have to believe in a particular religion, but just believing in the creator. When on the globe side, you have from atheists to theists to agnostics, etc. So all I'm saying in that is that for flat earth, there's a motivation to believe in a flat earth. In other words, if me believing in the globe, why wouldn't I want to believe in the flat earth? Because for some reason that seems to a degree confirm the existence of a creator. So why wouldn't I want to believe in that?
I mean, me personally, I believed in a creator before flat Earth, but
Yeah, I understand that part, but the thing is, for some reason, I mean, flat Earth tends to confirm that belief. It's I don't know if you look at football or NFL, but when they are reviewing a play, do you look at football?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, you know that when they're reviewing a play, they either come back and say, the call has been confirmed, overturned, or they just don't do nothing. I forgot what they say, but they just don't do nothing. They just say, they go with the call on the field. So, but when they confirm a call, that means they have definitive evidence that the call on the field was correct. They have no doubt that the call on the field was correct when they say they confirmed the call. So what I'm saying, in flat Earth, if the Earth is flat, then that is like confirming the call that there is a creator when you say flat Earth. So there
Well, I don't know.
is.
I don't know, because in my eyes, even with the globe belief, the Big Bang, God had to create the Big Bang too. But so if you walk around and you atheist, I mean, I just don't know what's going through your head. But Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. So what I'm saying is, or my point, the root of my point here is that there is an internal motivation to believe in flat Earth. For me personally, there is no motivation to believe in the globe. There's no reason internally for me to want to believe in the globe if I don't have corresponding evidence to believe in.
Well, like I said, it's the okay. Back in 9/11, I became like I said, full blown skeptic after that.
Okay.
And this appeal to authority, like I threw that out the window. Whatever they saying, I've done history. I know the history behind a lot of what's going on. With Greek and Roman. I just don't trust them, man. So anything coming out their mouth, especially like in history, it's like I got to question, man. There's nothing wrong with questioning what you're being told. I think that it's dangerous not to question.
I agree. But the distinction here I'm making is that for flat earthers have an internal motivation to believe in flat earth outside of the earth actually being flat. In other words,
And you saying that's because of the creator?
Of course. Because
well,
like
I'm telling you in my case that I believed in the creator before flat earth. So that really doesn't apply to me. And there may be other flat earthers that it doesn't, necessarily apply to.
Now, I'm not saying that it applies to every flat earth, but like I said, there's a dip when we're talking about a confirmation versus a belief. It's one thing to believe in the creator, But it's one thing to have a confirmation of the creator. And flat earth, if you and you a person that I can tell that has looked at a lot of flat earth videos, etc. And this is one of the things that has been brought up periodically, and that is that flat earth somehow confirms a creator. You know, I heard Mark Sargent the other day saying that this is a stage, and we are like pretty much performers on a stage being viewed.
Well, let me ask you this. You say you believe in a creator.
Of course.
Do you believe that you have a spirit?
I believe that we have an awareness, a consciousness that is eternal. Now,
that consciousness can discern from right from wrong, right?
It has the ability to do that, yes.
So that's a no to the spirit. You don't think we have spirits?
No, I'm not saying we don't have spirit, but I believe it's more so. See, when you say spirit, what do you mean by spirit? Let me try to understand what you mean by spirit.
Well, you know, we have these bodies. They're just a casing for your spirit. You have like your outside casing. You know, your face and your body features. That's not you. I'm talking to your spirit right now. I'm talking to Jermaine, not.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, this is my.
Go ahead.
Well, we tend to, you know, because I've been a person that has, you know, studied this for a while, and based on your understanding of spirit, you sound like how I used to look at spirit. You know, in other words, we tend to equate spirit with the indwelling energy, or some people say soul, but spirit is more so, you know, when you say a person is in the right spirit, or a person, you know, like what I just said, in the right spirit. The spirit is more so a projection or inspiration that comes from a person versus it being like the soul is. The soul is eternal. The spirit can change. You know, you can be in a down spirit. If you look up the word spirit, it just says breath. Okay. So what I'm saying to you is that when you ask me, do I believe in spirit? Of course I believe in spirit. But the spirit that I'm referring to when I say I believe in spirit, is more so the mood or the mindset of the individual. The soul, yes, I believe in that as well. The soul is the eternal part of the human being, which is actually the essence of the human being.
So like in the case of 9/11, right?
Okay.
To kill, like I said, 3,000 people in everybody's face like that.
Okay.
And it's way more than 3,000, bro. Like, let's be honest here. You know, the war, you know, at that, you know, after that, it's way more than 3,000. But anyway, to be able to do that, to me, you know, these people are spiritually like wicked or dead, you know. Because I know me personally, my spirit won't allow me to kill like that. So for people to be able to kill and it not affect them at all, and they just go about their lives like it's all good, I think that you know, yeah, that's how I discern spirit. You know, it's along those lines. Like you say, consciousness is pretty much your spirit. It's like, you know, good from bad. We all know good and evil. you know, to be able to do evil. And they've desensitized us to this too, living over here in America. We see killing all the time on the TV. We see all this, stuff that they just desensitize us to. And yeah, man, I think it's spiritual wickedness, man. That's just me.
Why do you think God allowed it?
Why do I think he allows it?
Allowed, for example, 9/11.
Well, if you think in the terms of like a creator, he had to create, the balance. Like he gave us free will. And
Okay.
if he's gonna give us, and you know what I'm saying, this you're creating, like just try to put yourself in the creator's shoes. It's like you're gonna create life, give him free will. If you didn't have good and evil, we will all just be robots out here, and it would pretty much, not give no meaning to life. So you got free will, you can do good and bad. He allows both to happen. I don't think he's interceding and stopping anything from happening. I think we're all going to be judged. Yes, I do think that. But, that's another topic. But we can go down that route, because I think it is important. There's too many people walking around here spiritually dead, man, not even thinking about, these things.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that human beings, I mean, of course you said that we have free will, which I agree with. Now, but what I'm...
So you think the creator should give you free will and then intercede with that free will? Like if you're doing bad, I should hop in here and stop it. But if you're doing good, I'm gonna just let you go.
No,
like,
no,
that's what the creator should be doing.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, that's the answer to why there's bad stuff going on. Is that he gave us free will. It's pretty much
a lot of bad stuff going on, no doubt. But do you think we as human beings, with our free will, that the creator, before we are born, that he knows already what we're going to do?
I believe that, yes.
Okay. This is one of my issues right there when you say that. Okay. Well, first, hold on, before I continue, let me ask you this. So do you believe in an eternal hell fire?
I believe that there will be judgment for the wrongdoers and judgment for, people who is. I believe in a judgment day, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying
hellfire, I'm not too sure, you eternally going to burn forever. I'm not sure. There may be a place for that for people like your Hitlers and stuff like that. It may be, but I don't think that that's the judgment for anybody who does, a sin, like cheating on your wife or something.
But you believe in a judgment like that for people, some people.
There may be, yeah.
Okay, and this is one of the problems that I have with that frame of thinking of the creator. Okay, because it's like this. If you have a child and you know that the child is going to do what you're telling them not to do. Okay, just hypothetically speaking, you telling the child, do not, when I'm not home, do not go in this drawer in my bedroom. Okay. Right? But you already know the child's going to do it, but you're telling them not to. And if you do go in there, I'm going to tear your behind up. But you already know the child's going to do it. Why would you even put your child in that predicament if you know that they're going to do wrong and you're going to tear their butt up? Why would you even do that if you're good?
Why would you even do what? You said he's going in the What'd you say, a cupboard or
Okay,
something?
let's make it like this. Well, okay, you telling the child not to go in the cookie jar, but you know the child is going to go in the cookie jar, and you telling the child, if you go in the cookie jar, I'm going to light your behind up when I get back home, and you already know he's going to do it though. How is that being a good parent when you already know the child is going to do it? You already know that you're going to light the child's behind up when you get back home because you already know that the child is going in the cookie jar. So I'm saying that to say, if God knows what we're going to do before we're born, Hitler, for example, and yet he can get eternal hellfire. Well, God already know that he was going to do that before he was born. So why would he even put that into motion, knowing that this person that he created is going to burn in eternal hellfire? What kind of, I mean, that don't sound crazy to you?
Well, do you think he should have gave us free will?
Yeah, but that's not my point.
Should there be consequences for evil actions?
I agree. There should be consequences for evil actions, but that's not my point.
And the way I look at it is like when he created life, right when he created it, like he already knew, like it was already written. You know what I'm saying? What he already knew what was going to happen. It's not like, you know, like I just feel like you want him to intercede in some way, and he should be interceding. Like you believe in the creator. So what is the creator to you? If not just, like some random Big Bang thing happened.
No, I don't believe in the creator like a lot of theists believe in the creator. I don't believe that there is like some ethereal being that is separate from his creation. I don't believe that. I believe that my belief in the creator is that the creator is entwined in his creation. Okay, it's more so from a lot of some of the Eastern uh, points of view on the creator, and that is that every human being has a part of the creator in them. They're disconnected from it because we're dead, as you say, spiritually. We're dead spiritually, and therefore we're disconnected
Why is that?
from, because in past time, that, put it like this, when you, for example, read the story of Adam, right? Adam did
Adam?
something, he disobeyed God, and it says that later on in the scripture, it says, by one man sin entered into the world, and death came by way of sin. Well, we know that the serpent said, according to the Bible, that the day you eat of this tree, you will surely die. Well, it wasn't talking about a physical death. The death is sin, and that is a disconnection from God. We know that looking at the scripture, Adam had a direct communication with God before he ate of the tree. But after he ate of the tree, he was disconnected from God. He had no more direct communication with God. And therefore, he brought death into the world. But it wasn't talking about or referring to a physical death, it was referring to a spiritual death. And so, what I'm saying to you is this, is that the people alive today are in fact dead. They are walking around in bodies, but they're dead. They worship that they know not what, who are easily led in the wrong direction, but hard to lead in the right direction. And this is why you or we need messengers, prophets, and from God and things of this nature. That's why they came into the world, because the people were disconnected from God. And
Who's
so
disconnected them?
Huh?
Why is this disconnection going on? Is it just because of Adam? Is that what you're saying? Or
I'm saying it's,
do you think there are things at play here that is disconnecting people today from their spirits?
well, of course, what's going on today is continuously keeping us disconnected. But I believe that each soul that is currently living has disconnected themselves from God, or from the reality of the God within, from their own actions. And what I mean by that is that
disconnection is coming from the same people, bro. The same 9/11, it's coming from the same people. This is why they're walking zombies out here. It's like this. It's like, okay, so the 10 Commandments, right? If everybody was following the 10 Commandments, what kind of world would this be? If everybody was truly following the 10 Commandments, the words in the book, what kind of world would this be? I mean, how can you take thou shalt not kill and put a caveat in it and say, just in this case, I can kill, or in the name of Christianity, I can kill? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you don't believe you can kill in self-defense?
in self-defense, yes.
Okay. That is a caveat, though.
If you try to come kill me,
the commandment doesn't distinguish.
I'm gonna defend myself. I'm not gonna try to kill you. I'm gonna defend. Like, say I shot you in the leg, I'm not gonna continue to shoot you after that. If I shoot you, say I got a gun and you got a gun, and you run up in my house and I shoot you first, and I shoot you in the leg and you drop your gun, I'm gonna go kick the gun away. I'm not gonna continue to shoot you and kill you.
Oh no, I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? That's self-defense.
No, I understand that, but my point is that you can kill somebody in self-defense, whether you intended to kill them or not.
Yeah, bro, but these wars and all of this shit going on, that's not self-defense.
Oh, we know that. Of course, we know that.
That's capitalism. So, I mean,
I don't justify any wars, especially the type of wars that we see and bear witness to today. So I definitely bear witness to that. But, you know, back to what I was saying is that if you look at, for example, some of the Eastern religions, they're saying that the soul is eternal and we are living today, but that soul is eternal. And it didn't just start being eternal today when we were born. Okay. And so what they're saying, or what some of them are saying, is that when you're born, you don't recall or remember before you were born. It's a few reasons for that. But one of the main reasons is, okay, let me ask you this. When you dream, right? Normal dreaming. I'm not talking about lucid dreaming or daydreaming or nightmares, but I'm more so referring to normal dreams. And I'm gonna ask you a question about that. When you're dreaming, and I want you to think about what I'm saying.
All right.
When you're dreaming, do you have the ability in normal dreaming to think about past or future while you're dreaming?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Me personally, my dreams have, kind of become, I don't even remember my dreams. Like, it's like I wake up and I know I had a dream, but I really don't remember it. I think it's because it's just like normal shit going on.
Okay. Well, let me just say this. In most normal dreams, you're unable to think about past, You're unable to even think about anything that is not currently in front of your face. You can't think about your mother unless your mother's there in front of your face in your dream. You can't even think about yourself as Jermaine, me being Jermaine. I can't even think about Jermaine. I don't even recall
Who's to say that's
Jermaine.
impossible? To this, I don't think it's
Huh?
out of the realm of possibility.
No, it's not. It's not out of the realm of possibility because I've had lucid dreaming. But my
Right.
point is that in most dreams we're in what is called like a different reality frame. Okay, and when you're in a different reality frame, the way consciousness works, the consciousness uh tends to have to adjust to that new reality frame. And in its adjustment, it actually and literally has an issue with recalling anything outside of that particular reality frame. So, what I'm saying to you is when you're born, you're in a new reality frame. And in that new reality frame, it takes time to adjust to it. And as you begin to adjust to that reality frame, you the you have to see the consistency of the reality frame day after day, and then you learn how to function in that new reality frame. And so what I'm saying to you is this, is that the soul that we have, that is our essence. Jesus said it like this according to the scripture. Neither shall they say, lo here nor lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And what I'm saying to you is this, is that the essence of the human being is God. God experiences through his creation. And what I'm saying to you is that that
So
essence is eternal.
you don't think
Excuse me.
there's a separate entity? You think it's yeah, I guess that's the question. You think it's do you think that God is a separate entity?
No, I think it's all connected. I think it's
I
all
agree with
connected.
that
We're
too, but I
just,
still think that there's a separate entity.
I don't think that it's a separate judge. I think the judge is coming from within. The judge, you're judging yourself. I don't think it's like a entity outside of yourself judging you. No, I don't believe that. And that goes to not only what I believe, but what I have experienced. During the time that I was deep into these studies, um, I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I told you my condition I'm in, right?
Right.
Now, I did 12 years in federal prison. Okay. I did 12 years in federal prison. During that time, I was heavy. Yeah, and that's where I had my accident at, in federal prison. I was heavy into spirituality, metaphysics, and things of this nature. Now, I had never had a seizure in my life until I was 28 years old. Okay. Before I started having seizures, I used to do what they call OBEs, or what they call out of body experiences. I used to be able to do it on a regular basis. I used to do it regularly. And during that time, I learned a lot of how the essence of a person is. Now what the scientists tell me, I was just, tripping, but my point is that I learned a lot during that time. But after that, after I started doing that, is when I started having seizures. And then a few years later, I had the accident that I had, and I
Can I
injured
ask you a
myself.
question?
Yes, sir.
When you was having these OBEs or whatever, was it in the dreamlike state, like you were asleep?
This how I used to induce them, right? I would lay down in my bed, right? I would close my eyes and I would not move. Because like if it like like if you laying still, something might itch or this or that. Even if I had something itching, I wouldn't move. I just wouldn't move. And the idea was to not move. Hello?
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, because my computer like went to sleep and I ain't know if, okay, there we go. Yeah, so I would not move, and eventually I would feel myself going to sleep. But that the trick is to try to stay awake, but never move. Can't move. And it's if I do that long enough, eventually I would go to sleep. My body would go to sleep, but I would still be aware.
Your eyes open?
No, my eyes closed. Keep your eyes got to be closed. And this is how I would know that that my body is asleep. Is I would see the ceiling. I would be looking at the ceiling with my eyes closed. I can see the ceiling. Okay. Now let me say this part. During the time that my body's going to sleep, it would it was kind of hard because it would feel like I was losing my breath, and sometimes I would have to take a deep breath because it would feel like I'm like my breath is leaving me. Okay. But so eventually my body would go to sleep and I could see the ceiling. Then I can sit up. But when I sit up, it's not my body sitting up. It's like when I would look at myself doing this state, it would look like an outline of a body. Like energy, like outlined in the shape of a body. That's how it would look to me. And anything I did, anywhere I wanted to go, it would do it as I think it. Like when you're moving your body now, it's more of a nerve movement. You're moving your arm up and down,
Yeah,
etc.
it's like involuntary or whatever.
Yeah. But doing in that state, as you think it, that's what it does. So if you want to like move your arm per se, you think it and it does it. Anywhere you want to be, as you think it, that's where you're at. But you have control over your thoughts. It ain't like when you're awake, random thoughts come into your head. But when in that state, it's not like that. It's like you have control over what you're thinking more than when you're awake. Because like I said, when you're awake, even though you may have control over your thoughts to a degree, it's still random thoughts that you may not be thinking of that come into your head. But in that state, it doesn't happen like that.
So you said you was doing this while you was locked up?
Yes, sir.
So you could like get up and walk outside the jail?
Yes, sir.
Go fishing?
Yes, sir.
That's dope, man. Nah, I wouldn't be messing around with anything. That's pretty crazy though. I've heard people talk about it though. So what do you attribute that to? What you think that is? You in a different realm, spirit realm? Did you see other entities in this realm? Like,
I never seen any other entities or anything like that.
Cause say somebody else was doing the same thing you was doing, would y'all be existing, you know what I'm saying, in the same realm?
I don't know. I've never done it with nobody. I've never seen nobody that didn't look like they were just a regular human in, there. You know what I
You could
mean?
do this regularly?
Regularly. I used to do it regularly.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And the thing is, when I was younger, the only time I saw any other entity, and this is something that I don't know if you heard of a guy by the name of Malachi York. You ever heard of him?
I've heard the name.
Okay.
I've never watched any of his content, but I've heard the name though.
Yeah, he's a little off the chain. He said he's from a different planet. But my point is that when I was younger, from like probably age 5 to I was maybe 15 or 16, I used to always have a dream that I was walking outside of my bedroom and I would leave out of my house and I would always run into this like thing that had the shape of a human, but the skin like it was burnt. And they had blue eyes, and the skin was like burnt to a crisp, right? And I did this for like over 10 years.
And this is when?
When like I said, from like age 5 to 16. I used to always have a dream like that.
Oh, right? Okay, yeah.
But I would always be walking out my room. Now, it wouldn't be like the same dream, but it always started with me walking out of my room. Okay. When I was in prison, I was looking at one of Malachi Z. York books. And he mentioned what I say I used to see all the time. He mentioned that in one of his books. And he described, to the detail. And he was saying that I forgot how he described them outside of how they look, but he said that these are some beings from something, whatever. And man, it's like something came over me because during that time, I used to always see these beings and they used to attack me. And as I got older, I started fighting them until eventually I stopped having those dreams. But my point is that the way Malachi Z. York described them, it made me to understand at that time I was having out-of-body experiences when I used to see these things. Okay. And like I said, I would never see. The only thing for the most part, I would always see was these things. They would just, like attack me or whatever. But anyway, but I haven't had a dream like that since, I was 15 or 16.
Yeah, my dreams, I can kind of relate that because, like I said, my dreams now, it's just like I don't even remember them. They're not, eventful or entertaining or nothing, I guess. But it's like I wake up and I know I had a dream. And like my dreams when I was younger, I just remember them being way more vivid. I had them a lot more, and I talk to a lot of people who give the dream of like like you running away from something, but you're running slow and you can't really. Like I had that. Like, and I hear a lot of people having that same kind of dream. Like maybe the person chasing you was different, but you had a dream where you just couldn't run fast. And it's like they're catching up with you. I had a lot of those when I was young. So I can kind of relate to, I just don't have those dreams no more. I don't know if it's because, you grow up and you kind of, figure things out and your imagination isn't working as much as it was back when you were young, which is one of the things that I think that we lose, man. It's like, I'm all about that second childhood and trying to have fun, man, because it's, I think that's one of the things that they strip away from us in this corporate lifestyle and, under the realm of capitalism and trying to make $1 every day. Like that's not what life is about. That's the illusion that's in our face is that we, gotta chase this fiat currency. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But life's not about that, man. It's, you know, and that's one of the beautiful things about flat Earth. It's like it's a wake up, you know, of not being a drone and kind of, and it starts with the thought. You know, it's like because we've been under this way of thinking for so long. It's like, you know.
But see, that's like the point that I was making earlier. That's one of the issues that I have with this idea, is because for most flat earthers, it's the real motivation for believing in it is not because the earth is flat. It really doesn't have anything to do with that.
Let me tell you what my motivation is.
Okay.
And this is why I bring up 9/11 so much. My motivation is I don't trust the government, man. Anything they got to say. If you can do that, like I said, I'm in tune spiritually to it's like I know that my spirit wouldn't allow me to do that, to okay that. Even if you're sitting in the armchair and you're okaying this, that's blood on your hands. My spirit wouldn't allow me to do that. So if your spirit is allowing you to do that on a regular basis, like that's cool to you, you know what I'm saying? There's something going on there, you know.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I agree with that.
So that's my motivation. It's like, God, you know, and I think it's ridiculous, man. The more I think about it, you know, on terms of proving things, you know, right here on the ground, nothing to do with the sky. I think it's sort of ridiculous, but that's just me.
But you know, the bulk of what you just said is my point. Most people that I hear,
you don't think that's justified, bro?
Flat Earth, no.
No.
For skepticism,
yeah, skepticism, the 100% skepticism of the powers that be.
When you say 100%, you know,
man, if you can do that, that's what I'm saying. That's how I took it. How my journey was. That's what I did. That's what, you know, when I came into the light of 9/11 and all these things, it's like, that's what happened with me. It was like, I was like, fuck them. You maybe, you know, something different happened, but it's like me, I was like, nah, man, I ain't rocking with that. So
see, the thing is that, okay, first let's look at the word democracy, right?
What word?
The word democracy.
Okay.
Right? It's something that they use that word because we know that English is like a bastard language. It's taken from, you know, Latin and different other languages to make up English. English is a bastard language.
Right.
Okay. And but the word democracy it comes from the word I believe it's the German word Demokratis, and the Latin words Demokratie, which doesn't mean the rule of the people, but it means the rule of the devil. Actually, that's what it means. Demo. It stands for demon, and Krasi is rule. Okay, so
okay.
it's actually telling you, you know what I mean, to a degree.
Like government, like, you know, breaking down the word. I mean, that's what's up, man. That's one that I haven't heard before. But yeah, even like government, you know, controlling the mind. It's like they tell us stuff right in our face, but I guess people are waking up, man.
Yeah, but what I want to say about that is that you can't consistently over a long period of time rule as they have if you don't have truth too. You have to be able to do both.
And you think the globe is one of those truths that they gave us? And why trust them anyway, man, is what I'm saying. It's like, why trust what they got to say anyway?
It's not about trusting them. It's about understanding that we can.
Bro, you could have been in that building.
Find out evidence for ourselves.
You could have been in that building working. You know what I'm saying? You could have been in that building.
I understand that. But what does that have to do with the flat earth? The earth being flat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That has nothing to do with that.
Okay, so you don't think that we don't have Greek and we don't follow Greek and Roman customs and things of that nature. And
Oh, I'm not saying any of
they don't
that.
have any intertwine in this capitalistic regime we got going on.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with any of that. My point is that when it comes to flat earth, I distinguish that from any other conspiracy I've heard. Flat earth is for example, hollow earth, right? I have no way at this time to disprove that the earth is hollow or not hollow. I have no evidence. It's no way at this time that I can get evidence for that. Other conspiracies I see evidence for, like I said, 9/11. I do see evidence of a conspiracy for 9/11. I know of the evidence for the international banking conspiracy. But when it comes to flat earth, it's a whole different situation.
I don't know, man.
Entirely different.
I don't know. Is it because everything ain't explained? I guess.
No, because I see evidence to the contrary. I see evidence to the contrary.
Okay.
You know, a lot of evidence to the contrary.
You yourself see evidence. When you like you yourself in your experience with your own two eyeballs see evidence, or is it coming from an external?
Well, if we want, like you said that that's the start, right? That's what you said last time I spoke to you, because you even said that even with our own eyes, that is just the start. Because if we just go with our own eyes, then, like I said, we see the sun shining on the bottom of the clouds. Okay. So that's telling us that the sun is actually going below the clouds and below the horizon. That's what we see with our own two eyes. But when I asked you about that last time, you said, well, that's the start. So if that is the start, then we go from there. But with the globe, in order to fly, to aviate on the globe internationally, especially, you have to know, to accurately navigate from airport to airport, you have to know the shape of what you're riding above. That is a necessary part in order for air traffic control to work and to be accurate as it is today. You have to know what you're flying above.
Yeah, but if flat Earth is true and they are deceiving us, then they can easily deceive us with that.
But what I'm saying, they
call it an airplane, man. Why do they call it an airplane? It flies over a plane.
That's something that Brother Sanchez have said. I mean, like he talk about horizon. I mean, he's playing on words. But the point, just because it says airplane, doesn't mean that it fly over a flat Earth. That's not what it means. You're just taking the word. He's a rapper. He's just taking the word and making it mean what, that sounds good to flat earthers. That's all. I mean, but you have it's called the WGS-84, which is the World Geodetic System, which is a basis for all international air travel. It's based on a globe. Okay. Now you can say that they are hiding this.
I mean, as it should be, right?
Okay, but in order to aviate accurately, as we bear witness that airplanes do, you have to know the shape of what you're flying above. It is a necessary thing. So what you're saying is that they know that it's flat. The air flight plans is based on a flat Earth, but they're telling you it's a globe.
Okay, so that plane that's flying has to compensate for the curvature while it's flying. It doesn't do that though. It just flies level, man. I've been in
Okay.
planes. You reach your altitude, it flies level. They're never dipping the nose to go around no kind of curve. So
Before I even deal with that specific topic, in order for a plane to descend, does it have to dip its nose?
for it to descend,
Yes.
I would think so. Yeah.
Have you ever seen a plane land?
Yeah. I mean, on yeah.
Okay.
So like a helicopter can like come straight down and it doesn't have to, you know what I'm saying, do no dipping of the nose, but a plane
Oh,
does.
you sure about that?
I would think so.
No, it does not.
So what does it do?
I live in between National Airport and BWI, which when I'm going, I go to the casino sometime. I go to live casino, or when I'm going down to MGM casino. No matter which casino I'm going to, I always see planes landing at National Airport or at BWI. And I can say most of the time I don't see the nose dipping. Most of the time the nose is actually above the back part of the plane when it's landing.
So
Okay.
like say you was in a simulator and you had to land the plane, you wouldn't have to, go up on that on the controls
I
to,
don't I
to
don't know
land
I don't know how a simulator works. I'm just going by what I see when I see planes landing. Now, with that being said, let's get to the point that you made about a plane flying over a curved earth versus a flat earth. Like I mentioned to you before, you can never catch up to the horizon. Okay. The horizon will always be at a distance from your current location. Wherever you at, you can never stand on the horizon. So you can never catch up to the horizon. All right. If you take a small model airplane and you have a globe in your house and you set that airplane 1 inch above that globe and you spin that globe, in order for that airplane to go around that globe, you did not have to raise the airplane up or bring the airplane down. That airplane will still be 1 inch above that globe. Do you understand what I just said?
Yeah, you said if you spin the globe. So when you ride in the airplane in reality, do you see the globe spinning beneath you?
That's not my point. My point is the horizon will still be you can never catch the horizon. So you can never quote unquote go over the edge. All the plane has to do is maintain a certain altitude. That's it. Long as it maintains a certain altitude, it will follow the curve of the earth. Just as you taking an airplane and putting it 1 inch over the globe and spinning the globe. All you got to do is maintain that inch. It will naturally follow the curve of the earth. Why? Because you can never catch the horizon.
But see, you said if the plane was still and the earth was spinning, but what if the earth was still and the plane was you was moving that plane
I'm
around
saying
the globe?
it's equal. What I'm explaining to you is equal to the plane being stationary. Because of this, you can never catch the horizon. If you take the plane, right, and move the plane over the globe with your hand, you're catching up to the horizon.
What's the significance of the horizon though?
I mean, I don't understand what you're asking. I
Like
mean,
I told you how I see the horizon. What the horizon is just, it's a false horizon. It's only there because you can't continue to see. Your eyes have limitations. So
well, we can see things beyond the horizon, right?
beyond the horizon,
Yeah. Like the
What do you mean
Chicago
beyond the
skyline
line?
from 40 miles away that we can sometimes see. That skyline is far beyond the horizon, but we can still see the tops of those buildings or the upper half
I
of
mean, but
those
that
buildings.
building, where that what you're seeing, that's the horizon.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding what you're saying.
If you're looking at buildings, okay, what would you say, 40 miles away?
Uh-huh.
What you're looking at, there'll be a line, right? You would see a line,
We will see like that
horizon.
water level. Okay. The water line.
So the water line is the horizon?
In this case, yeah.
Okay. So something is 40 miles away. Should you be able to see that?
Depends on your height. Depends on your eye level.
So how do you take all the flat earthers doing the long distance? Because I've heard even people say, I haven't confirmed this, but like they could see a certain island without any optics in the Hawaii, one of the Hawaii islands from another island, and it's like, I forget the distance, but it's miles and miles away, and they can see it with their bare eyes with no optics.
Okay, well,
You know, things of that nature.
I've heard people say that they can see craters on the moon with their bare eyes. Now, I have 20/20 vision. I've looked at the
Yeah, and
moon.
it being 240,000 miles away, and you can see those craters like that.
No. I'm saying I've heard people, flat earthers, say that they can see craters on the moon with their naked eye. And I'm telling you that I have 20/20 vision. And those nights that I was saying I was going out to the casinos a lot, and we've had full moons recently, and I've looked and I do not see any craters.
Man, I was just driving last night looking at the craters, man, on the moon.
You are not looking at no craters.
Yeah, I
Cut it
was. You
out.
can see them. I mean,
Cut it out, man. Come on, man. Don't do that, man.
come on, bro. You can't see the craters with your naked eye.
No, you don't see the craters. You see the discoloration part of the
Well,
moon.
that's what I mean. I
But
mean, I
you're
know
not.
those are
Yeah,
what you call craters,
no. I'm talking about the craters.
or
There's
like
a
actual
difference.
like definitions.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Nah, I've never done that, but nah, not with the
Yeah,
naked eye. No.
I can see the discoloration because parts of the moon appears to be darker than other parts. Yeah, I can see that, but that's not the craters.
So I got a question about the moon since we're on the moon. It's different from so they say how did the moon come into existence?
Well, I don't know how they say. I know what I believe.
Didn't they say it's like it was part of the earth or something?
Yeah, that's what I believe. I believe it was once part of the earth. Yeah.
So what happened? Well, walk me through what you think happened.
Well, what I believe, mine is more so to a degree.
So it's this. Hold on.
Theological
What
based,
you about to
huh?
say is different from the mainstream ideal.
Yeah, because I believe it was an explosion on Earth, and during that explosion, part of the Earth separated from the Earth, and it formed what we now call Moon.
So an explosion on Earth. So no meteor.
No, I don't believe in. No, I don't believe in. No,
Why not the meteor?
because I told you my belief in how the moon was formed is based on it's religious based.
It's religious based.
Uh-huh.
You expound upon that.
Okay, well,
So you think
Elijah
an
Muhammad
explosion? Well, you
taught
can go back to
that.
the explosion. Like what? This
Yeah,
is
he
at the
taught that.
time when the Earth was forming and
No,
all
it
that.
was no. He said that there was people on the earth during this time, and a guy by the name of Shabazz wanted the entire earth to speak the same dialect. but he didn't understand that based on where you're located on the earth affects your dialect. You know, for many reasons.
Is
It
this the
affects.
religious?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What religion is this? If you don't mind me asking.
It's called the Nation of Islam.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And this person got upset about that, and he at that time filled the earth with high explosives, similar to what you would see with something like nuclear today. And at that time, that's what happened. He exploded the then called moon, and we got what we call a satellite today, which is the moon that we see out in approximately 240,000 miles away.
All right, that's my first time hearing that, and you really believe that?
Well, the thing is, when it comes to things that I can't verify myself, I can say, yeah, I believe it, but I can't confirm it.
Well, that's still, I mean, to the mainstream science say that it's a part of Earth, and you're saying it's a part of Earth. So, I guess my question can then be:
that's something recent from mainstream science. They didn't always believe that. That's something recent.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a recent teaching. Elijah was teaching that in the 30s, before they were teaching it.
So if it once was a part of Earth, it would have the same components of Earth, right? So like when they brought the moon rock back, why was they so astonished at different materials? Unless it's, they're saying it was a meteorite that they brought back.
Because I know that they say they said that they seen rock or had rock that is similar to the rock on Earth.
Okay, and the reflection that we're getting from the moon, the Earth, I guess, does the same thing.
See, and when you said that the other day, right, that you're saying that rock doesn't reflect light.
Well, I'm just saying, they're saying that the moon came from the Earth, so it should have the same. This is just me thinking about it. It should have the same components of Earth, be made up of the same composition, and just it reflecting light like that. I'm just asking, is the Earth doing the same thing?
But you know that if the Earth, if like I was saying, the theory that I gave, right, then during that explosion, this rock, for it to separate from Earth, it was in a certain state. Now, you know,
mind you, this is escaping gravity's pull too.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And it just escaped gravity's pull.
No, you saying
found a nice little spot up there, can come close to the Earth like during a supermoon, and not get pulled to the Earth. All right, go ahead.
It ain't that much closer. It's just a small percentage closer. And matter of fact, how does a supermoon work on a flat Earth?
I don't know what the moon is, man.
Oh, okay. There it is. That's the cop-out answer.
Hold on, no. Who does?
No, but my point is,
there's people who claim they know, but they don't know.
No, but my point is that's a cop-out answer though.
Hold on, hold on. How's it a cop-out if it's a fact, bro? It's a fucking fact that nobody knows for 100%. Okay. Well,
it looks like rock though, don't it?
We're both acting like we know. It's just one has maybe, the consensus appeal, but at the end of the day, we're both acting like we know something that we don't really know. So
no, but I'm saying, but it looks like rock, right?
Yes, it looks rocky in nature.
Oh, okay. So if it looks rocky, flat Earth is. The flat Earth route is.
It doesn't look like Earth rock.
Now, when I was communicating with you the other day through messages, you were saying, you know, or like when we were talking about stars, you was bringing up the star thing.
Mhm.
And I was saying, you can look at a building through atmosphere and the building looks like it's waving and moving around. Okay. That doesn't mean it's moving around. And then you were comparing the pictures of NASA looking at stars, etc. And what I said to you, or what I sent to you, was that if you're taking pictures from Hubble, the Hubble is not looking through atmosphere. So we would not expect
Well, I'm
to
not
see the
talking. I
same.
wouldn't consider those as like the waving around effect. It's like when they some of those videos of the stars, man, you could just see that it doesn't look like it's terra firma. It doesn't look like it's something you can land on. It just looks like light, and some of them it looks like picture like a maze. You know what I'm saying? And in those mazes, it has spaces. You know, and it just looks like it's not something that's solid. It looks like light. I'm not talking
Okay.
about the waves in front
Well, a
of it and the
star is light.
atmospheric like conditions causing it a wave effect in front of it. I'm
Well,
talking about just what they look like.
I mean, who said that a star is not light? I don't understand.
But it looks only like light, not something that's terra firma, something that's rocky, something that you can land on.
I'm still misunderstanding. I mean, who?
I wish I could pull it up and show it to you, man.
Yeah, no, I know the pictures that you're referring to. But as I said to you in that uh, message stream or that we were communicating on, first of all, I've seen telescopes as cheap as a few $100s or $100, and you have telescopes that are way more expensive. Do you think that an image in a $50,000 telescope going to look the same as one in $1,000 telescope?
No.
Okay. So that in and of itself, since you're being skeptical, that in and of itself should tell you not to bring forth images from an inferior telescope as to present against
So I should
a
appeal
Hubble
to the
telescope
Hubble
photo.
telescope. That
Huh?
is why would I appeal to the Hubble?
No,
And
but
you
my
know, you
point,
already
no,
know I don't trust nothing coming out of NASA mouth.
but my point is just understanding what you just agreed to in and of itself disqualifies any images from an inferior telescope
And hold on,
on
bro,
Earth.
because some of these images I'm seeing ain't just from some couple $1,000 telescopes. Like these is big ass telescopes. These dudes, they're still on Earth, and mind you, it ain't the Lucifer freaking telescope at the Vatican, but it's a nice telescope. It's dudes that don't believe in flat Earth that I'm looking at these videos and making my own discernment from these videos. So I
I
don't know
mean,
where you're getting this couple $1,000 telescope argument.
I've sent you photos and video links to like Astronomy Live, for example, who is an amateur astronomer who takes pictures of things or videos of things, and it doesn't look the same as I see on some of these flat Earth videos.
All right.
So what I'm saying is that to even bring forth what they're showing as any type of evidence, and you will find that most of these quote unquote evidences, why does it always come from flat earthers for the most part? Why? I mean,
What
you have any
evidence?
idea on
You
that?
talking about the stars?
I mean, anything that tends to somehow conspiratorially uh, show or say that NASA or somebody else is lying, the government is lying about the shape of the earth, or anything that relates to anything space outside of the moon landing. Now I've seen independent, things on the moon landing conspiracy, and the people that's presenting it is not a flat earth. But outside of the moon landing, for the most part,
I mean, come
Anybody
on, bro.
that's really saying a conspiracy theory outside of the moon landing is a flat earther.
All right. There's some convex people. They're not saying it's flat. They're saying it's convex. They put out evidence against the globe. There's Electric Universe putting out stuff that's destroying the Einsteinian gravity every day, man, almost. There's people out there who's got a different, and they're not flat earthers,
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying when I see people presenting like what you're saying, the star thing, and many things like that. Now I know that
Have you
there's
heard of
people that
Electric
believe
Universe?
in different ideas of the earth. Like I said, the hollow earth. Now the concave earth people, they believe in the flat earth. They just believe that the land is concave. They still believe in the flat earth. And,
Have you heard of Electric Universe?
yeah, and but that's solely based on they dealing with the gravity thing more so. They ain't dealing with the shape of the planets. They dealing with the gravity thing. They're not dealing
But you
with the
need
shape
gravity for the globe, though. If they disprove gravity, then you don't think that's a problem for the globe?
But these people that's speaking about Electric Universe believe in the globe.
That's what I'm saying. You ask for other people who have a different, you know what I'm saying? They don't believe in the globe, but they don't
they
think
believe
it's
in the globe.
I mean,
The
they
only
do
people
believe in
that
the
you
globe.
mentioned
That's my
that don't
fault. I meant
believe
to
in the
say they
globe,
do believe in the globe, but it's like they don't agree with
they not
everything
believing in
that's
black
coming from
gravity,
mainstream
but they
science.
still believe
That's
in the
that mainstream science is saying is a fact. And
globe.
treating it like it's fact. Hold on, to even go to the moon, bro, they had to all those calculations got to be correct. And you got to be factoring in quote unquote gravity to get there and to get back safely. Okay. So
Okay.
they are acting like it's a fact. And it's not a fact. That's the problem.
No, what I'm saying and what we were just speaking of is the fact that we were talking about the stars, etc., and this evidence, things of that nature. And I was speaking about how flat earthers, I always see it from flat earthers. Now, when it comes to the Electric Universe, they still believe, these people that's propagating this still believe that the earth is a globe.
That's fine. That's what I'm saying. I brought that up as a point.
Okay. And a lot of people that flat earthers bring up, from Tesla to Admiral Byrd, there's no evidence that these people believed in a flat earth. Absolutely none. So I mean, I just don't understand how, I mean, these people can even be brought up as if they believed in a flat earth.
So in the case of like Electric Universe, if they disproved Newtonian and Einstein in
They ain't
gravity,
disproved nothing. That's
if they
they
I
have
said
a theory.
if they did,
Okay.
that would disprove the globe, right?
No, sir.
As we know it.
No, all it can possibly disprove is the reason for why the earth was formed the way it is. Not that disproving gravity disproves the globe earth. No, sir. They just said that that's how earth formed, was the reason why it formed the way it did was due to gravity. But that doesn't mean you can't have a globe shape without gravity. It's just saying that they're giving you, that's the reason why it's a globe or why it formed the way it did.
Well, the point is that there's a lot of people who may not necessarily believe in flat earth right now, but they disagree with the mainstream ideal of, mass attracting mass and things of that nature.
Okay, with gravity, but if you go online
but you need gravity, man. You need gravity, right? Gravity's holding on to water
sir,
to the
where
ball.
y'all get that from?
So you don't
Where are
need
you getting that
gravity.
from?
You don't need gravity to hold trillions of tons of water to the exterior of the ball, like at the bottom of the ball. Not
In
one
other
drips.
words, in other words, it's possible that it can be something else that's doing that. And these theorists, these electric universe theorists that's saying it's electromagnetism, is saying that's the reason why the water is on the earth. They're not referring to the earth as being some other shape to hold the water on there.
Okay,
These
so you
people
don't
that's
see how
supporting it,
the
huh?
burden of proof lies on that, not on flat earthers, because all we're saying is that the water is being contained like we see it. And nobody's upside down anywhere, relative to where we're at, type of thing. It's flat, man.
But there's no evidence supporting it. There's no predictive capability supporting it. There's no logical explanation for lunar eclipses. There are mentions of a dome that they have no evidence for, even though they say that they trust their senses. There's no evidence for many things.
So,
Absolutely
so
zero evidence.
have you heard of the Saros cycle?
The what?
Saros cycle.
No, what's that?
It's something they use to prove. I haven't done a whole bunch of research on it, but I've looked into it a little bit. But it's something that they use to predict eclipses with, and they've been using this since like Neo-Babylonian times when they didn't believe in no sphere, and they were predicting eclipses with this Saros cycle back then.
No,
with a Hebrew cosmology. So.
no. When I'm saying, when
And
I
as
say
far as I
eclipses,
know, I think NASA still uses this Saros cycle to predict eclipses, but I'm not too sure. I have to do more research. I'm just asking if you ever heard of it.
yeah, but when I was referring to eclipses, I'm not talking about. I wasn't talking about when it happens. I was talking about the lunar eclipse and what's causing the shadow on the moon.
Well, this is my response to that. Okay. Do you know that this is what I'm just quoting mainstream science saying that we only can perceive like 1% of the electromagnetic, spectrum. Like you can't see. This is what I believe. You had your belief about what the moon is. This is my belief. I think there's another body up there. We can't see it, and it's casting the shadow on the moon.
Well, how can you predict that?
I don't. Never tried, man. That's just
No,
my
but I'm saying,
belief.
how can you
I think
predict
there's something
something
up there
that you
that we
can't
can't
see?
see. It's invisible to our eye, even though it's probably visible. It can be visible to something else, but we can't see it.
So
And that's
NASA,
what's casting the
so
shadow.
NASA and all the other space agencies have privy to this unseen body. Is that what you're saying?
That's my belief.
Okay, but there's no evidence for it though, right?
No, there's no evidence that the moon came from the earth.
But what we're discussing here now, let's trim our discussion down. The reality of our discussion is globe versus flat. So now where the moon came from is really irrelevant to that argument. Okay, so now we can speculate where the moon came from. But now when we're talking about evidence, hard evidence of things, then we have to dwindle our conversation down to things that we can empirically observe. Okay. And so what I'm saying to you,
okay, go ahead.
no. So what I'm saying to you is this, is that when we are dealing with an eclipse, lunar eclipse, and we see a shadow, a curved shadow begin to cover the moon, what evidence do we have of what is causing that shadow on the moon?
We only have observations of the shadow happening. That's the only evidence we have.
Okay. Okay. What's covering the sun? What's covering the sun during the solar eclipse? The same body?
I guess that's the moon, I guess. I don't know.
Oh. But I thought the moon, so the moon and the sun is not the same height.
It's not the same what?
Height above the earth. flat Earth?
I don't know who's going to prove. Can you prove? Can you prove that
No,
it's
I mean, it
93
ain't about
million
proof.
miles
I mean,
away?
I'm just saying what flat earthers say. Some flat earthers say.
Well,
That's why I'm asking you.
I mean, your proofs are, they're not really proof though. They're just
But
observations.
there's
Stuff in the
absolutely no
sky.
evidence of a flat Earth. So that's why I'm asking what flat
There's
Earth
no
is.
evidence of a flat Earth. Is that what you just said?
Yes, sir.
There's no evidence of a round Earth or a spherical Earth.
Well, I just put out a video today that show evidence of curvature. Just today. Okay. Anytime we see buildings being cut off, that's evidence of curvature. There's no logical flat Earth explanation for that. There's no logical flat Earth explanation for the sun setting. Absolutely none. And this is why the idea of why setting changes from perspective to dirty air to magnification. It's a reason why all these different reasons for the sun setting occurs, because there's no logical explanation on the flat Earth.
I thought we discussed that before, man.
We probably did.
We didn't accept it, but I guess you just didn't accept it. Light doesn't travel forever. It's not traveling 90, 100 million miles. It's local. You can't see forever. It takes its light with it as it goes away from you. You can't see forever. It travels so far out of your perspective that you just don't see it, and you don't see its light anymore either.
Okay,
that's the explanation for sunset.
That's the explanation. Okay, well, I want you, if you're gonna ride with that explanation, right? I want to show something, and I don't know why, and I got my. Let me say this while I'm trying to do this. Last week I reinstated my gigabyte service, and it says my router is getting 900 and something megabits or bytes per second, but my device still is not getting it. So I might have to get me a new device or figure out how I can get that type of speed to my computer. Now what happened to my picture I had up here? Now this is crazy. Okay, let me see if I can get it up. You can see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull this picture back up, because I just want to ask you a question about, because you were saying the reason why the sun sets is because pretty much the sun is just going out of our view. Okay. All right. You can see the map that I have on the screen, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Where I'm pointing at right now is where Ushuaia, Argentina is around. Right here, where I'm pointing at. Okay. Where I'm pointing at now is approximately where I live at. Okay. In the DC metropolitan area. On December 21st, every year, we here in DC have about approximately 9.5 hours of direct sunlight. We can see the sun above the horizon for 9.5 hours. So
your issue is with this map, not with me. I never said that this map is correct, but you can go ahead with your.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, no matter how you make the map, I can pull up any possible map, and it still doesn't work.
Well, that's something that I think, if say a body of flat earthers got together from different cultures and different places, and got together and tried to do some sun tracking and stuff like that together, that maybe they could come up with something, but that hasn't happened yet. So, going with anything. I mean, you can go ahead though.
Okay. Okay. We have approximately 9.5 hours on December 21st, the winter solstice. In Ushuaia, Argentina, on that very same day, they have over 17 hours of direct sunlight. Okay. So what that is saying to us, we are going with this map for sake of argument at this time. If the sun is rotating, and during that time it's above the Tropic of Capricorn, which is about here, okay, making a circuit above the AE map projection on the Gleason's style flat Earth. And at some point in time, I will in DC be closer to the sun than they will in Ushuaia. So if the sun is around here, for example, I would be closer to the sun than they would be in Ushuaia. However, their daylight is almost 8 hours longer than my daylight. And on top of that, for the other 7.5 or so hours of that 24-hour day, for those in Ushuaia, they never go out of nautical twilight. So even when the sun goes below the horizon, they still see the light of the sun for the entire 24 hours, or the hours that they don't see the sun directly. That in and of itself disqualifies this map as a possible reality of Earth.
That's an observation that I haven't done, but like I said, I'm cool with this map. I don't know that to be true, so I can neither confirm nor deny that that's a true map. Just like the globe, same thing.
Okay, but it works good on the globe, though. It does work good on the globe, though.
As it should.
Yeah, but the reality matches up. What we observe in reality matches up with the predictions and what the expectations of the globe. Now, I haven't
Not
yet,
everything.
huh?
Not everything.
Well, I mean, okay. For example, what? And we're talking about globe now. We're dealing with the shape of the planet. What doesn't match up?
So not the motion.
What about the motion?
There is none. There's no measurable motion.
Well, hold up, but okay. I mean, I've dealt with that before, which I can deal with it now. But just to say, the shape of the Earth has nothing to do with motion, because you know that they are geocentrists. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They don't believe the Earth move either, but they do believe it's a globe.
I don't know what their explanation for a lot of things is, though.
Okay.
How's the globe not moving? Oh, well, you're not a geocentrist, so I don't know if you can answer.
But go ahead, ask the question.
How's the globe not moving? And things like gravity and how do they explain? I guess they got the sun moving
Yeah.
around the globe.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything moves around just like your flat Earth. Everything moves around the globe.
That's something I never looked into. But I guess what their explanation for gravity, because don't you need the motion and all that? That ties into gravity and keeping things here on Earth.
How does it work on the flat Earth then?
What?
Oh, it's spinning on top of the dome. Okay, yeah, that's right.
How does what work?
The sun is not on the dome though. The sun is under the dome.
I don't know what the sun is, how far away it is. If it's being projected, it could be a projection. Now, it could be coming from some other source. I don't know.
Nah, I've dealt with you with that sun thing, man.
That's why I don't like talking about the sky, because you don't want to concede the fact that none of us know. You're like, that's a fact, man. None of us really know.
But
that's the only fact.
If you can feel the heat of the sun, it's not a projection. If you can bear witness that the sun casts shadows, real shadows on real objects, then the sun is real.
I'm not saying that it's not real.
Well, projection is not real. Projection is a projection. You've seen the Tupac hologram. It's not real because it doesn't have real physical effects.
But it's light, though.
No, the point is,
how are you saying
it's like a projection. It's not real. It can't harm me in any way. The sun can harm people.
Okay, so like radiation, that can harm you.
Yeah, but the radiation is coming from what? The object that's projecting the light.
So because it has...
The object that's projecting the light is real.
Okay, I'm not saying that it's not real. I don't understand your point.
The point is that the sun is real. If it was a projection, it would not be real.
I'm saying that, okay, so a source external from the sun that could be real. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that it could be projecting from some other source.
But we feel the heat from the sun, and the light from the sun is casting real shadows.
Okay.
Off of real objects.
That's what light does.
Yeah. And all light produces real heat if it's a light source. That's what light does too. Right. You can't show me no light source that doesn't produce heat, which people try to refer to the moon as a light source that has phases that can't be explained for it being a light source. But yet we accept that as like it's possibly can be fact, where there's no evidence to support that. Absolutely none.
But there's evidence to support it being a sphere, a rocky sphere.
Yeah. Why? Because we see shadows near the edges of the terminator line. And that terminator line, based on the shadows that we see on the craters near the terminator line, suggests a shape. Because if it was flat, we would not see what we see.
I'm not, I didn't say it was flat, but okay, say it wasn't spherical though. But it had like body, you know what I'm saying? Somehow, I guess.
Man, come on, man.
So that moon being a sphere in the sky, right? And it's spinning, right? This is what they say, it's spinning. to where
Well,
we only see one side of it.
but it's
For
title
everybody,
lock.
man, for everybody. This shit is spinning. And
I
you
mean,
can't look up and see
the
no, hold on, because
percentage.
if a sphere is in the sky, I would be able to see, and tell it's a sphere because of its, circumference and all that.
But what you have to understand, you're not looking at it from a local perspective. It is almost 240,000 miles away. How do you expect to just
I'm just
look
saying.
at it
So okay, so if
and
it's a
know that it's
sphere
a
though,
sphere?
that face that I'm seeing is bulging out towards me, right?
But the distance nullifies the bulge per se. In other words, you won't notice the bulge because of the distance.
I don't know about that.
Why would you expect to notice the
See,
bulge
that's what I'm
from
talking
a
about. Like with
circle that's 240,000 miles away? A
That's what I'm talking
sphere.
about. Like with a full moon and that bulge, like you're looking at a bulge and that full moon being lit up around all the edges of that sphere, and I'm looking at the bulge. It just don't make sense to me. I don't know if I'm explaining that to where you can kind of visualize looking at a bulge in the sky. It's bulging out towards me.
Uh-huh.
And for every observer looking at that moon, it's going to be full to where all the edges are completely lit. That don't make sense. It's reflecting sunlight, and it's a sphere. The angles don't match
I,
up.
no, I think this is where you're misunderstanding things. First of all, you're dealing with an object that's 240,000 miles away, approximately. Secondly, the
They
percentage,
confirm that too, right?
they've confirmed it. I mean, I haven't confirmed it, but uh, and this is something that we can do independently, though. If we get the equipment, we can bounce sound off of the moon. You can get equipment that can allow you to do that, and based on your knowledge of the speed of sound, you can determine the distance. Okay, but anyway, back to my point. The percentage, like if you're 6,000 miles away from me, for example, and you're looking at the same moon that I'm looking at, a small percentage of that moon, we will see a small difference in what we can see at the edge of that moon, if it's a full moon, for example, and you're 6,000 miles away and we're looking at that same moon, measurably, with equipment, we'll see a little difference. Okay, but the moon is tidal locked. It's not rotating at the rate of the like once a day. It's rotating approximately every 28 days, 29 days. So it is what is called tidal lock. As it revolves one time, it rotates one time. Okay. Do you understand what they mean by tidal lock?
Yeah, basically it's spinning.
Once every revolution.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds good.
But you gotta admit, man, they figured out a lot of angles. If they're lying about it, they don't figured out a hell of a lot of angles, and they brought up things that they didn't have to bring up. Like I hear flat earthers when
By
they
angle, you
speak.
mean theory.
Hmm.
By angle, you mean theory.
Okay.
They brought up a lot of theories,
Okay. They brought up a lot of
and it should stay in the
no,
theory.
no, but I said they brought up a lot of things that they didn't
You
have to
said
bring up.
angles, and I'm just saying I'm just replacing angles with theories. They brought up a lot of theories, and it should stay in the theory realm until it could be actually confirmed.
No, this is my point I was making. Certain things that they mentioned, for example, the the radiation belts, right? About going to the moon. That They didn't have to. If everything is just fake, they didn't have to bring that up. They didn't have to make up some Van Allen radiation belts.
So
you understand what I'm
you
saying?
do think they landed on the moon?
That's not my point. My point is that there are things that are brought up in the idea of the heliocentric model, okay, that didn't have to be brought up if it was just fake. If they just making this up, why would they even make up some Van Allen belts?
They've been making up everything else.
Why? No, but my point is, what sense does bringing in Van Allen belts? I mean, in other words, that's just one example. I mean, it's a lot of different examples, but I mean, that's just one example of certain things that doesn't necessarily have to be made up to get across the idea of us living on a spinning globe.
I mean, I don't know. That's drama to the story, I guess.
Man.
I mean, what you want me to say?
No. I'm just asking. I'm just asking. You know. But
I mean, for space to be as dangerous as they claim it is, they sure got it figured out.
No, they do a lot of tests.
They got it figured out, man. They landed on the moon and brought them back safely. So they got it figured out. The ISS been up there for how long? They got it figured out.
It's been up there for a while. You heard about the new movie they coming out with?
Yeah, that
First Man.
Yeah.
That'll be a good. Flat Earth is gonna be all over that. Flat Earth is gonna be all over that joint, boy.
The propaganda, man. They got to push it. They pushing it right now.
Man,
because they got something on. They got something on Hulu called like it's something about the moon. I forget what it's called. But
I can hear I can hear Flat Earthers now because I know the graphics on there gonna be tight. You know what I mean? So I can hear Flat Earthers now. See? You know what I mean? How they can do this in Hollywood? You know what I mean? They did it. You know, they already did it. They already know how to do it. The moon, we know that they're not actually on the moon, but they can make it look like that. Here's the movie to prove it.
I mean, but we talking about professional liars, man. Do you think? I mean, the government, they lying to you every day. So they are pathological professional liars. So it's like, damn it, man. Why? I just don't understand. I would at least like to hear Globe. It's like it shouldn't be this fight. Like I don't like the debate. I like to just talk about it and just kind of bounce ideas off each other like we doing. It ain't no, because I think both of us when we walk away from this conversation gonna still be thinking the same thing. So, yeah, man, it's just these guys are pathological professional liars, man. They lie every day, but I'm supposed to disbelieve this part.
But that's my point. And it's not about
with this, bro. Like with the sun worship and stuff, like all that ties into it. Like they put the sun in the center. This is what I believe. They put the sun in the center because they some sun worshiping people, and they wanted the sun to be the center of the universe, which I don't believe. I think this is it.
Okay, I mean, some people in the past and some people today may be sun worshipers.
It's a lot of it. It's a lot of it.
Not that fact. Not that fact. I mean, that's possible.
It's been going on since antiquity, man. It's worshiping the sun.
We bear witness that the sun does give, affect life to a great degree.
And even with them, like naming all the planets, they're all Roman and Greek gods, stuff like that. It's like,
I understand that part. They
were wandering stars. That was the first, 7 wonders of the world were those wandering stars up there.
Yeah, but
give me a second. I got a phone call.
Handle your business. It's just when it comes to flat Earth, the idea of flat Earth, we can using deductive reasoning and observation we can determine,
All right, I'm back.
yes, using deductive or observation and deductive reasoning, we can determine the shape of the earth. We may not know the shape of the universe. We may not be able to determine a lot of other things, but we can make observations from earth independently. And we could be amateurs, and we can make observations on earth as well as from earth, looking at celestial bodies and their motion to determine the shape of the planet that we live on.
Yeah, so when you look up in the sky and you see that stuff moving, you rather believe that it's the Earth moving.
It's only
Like
three possible answers to that. There's only three possible things when we see motion.
Yeah, like we could both be moving. Either it's moving, we're moving, or we're both moving.
Exactly. 2 out of 3, 66%. It's a 66% chance that we're moving. Okay.
So, what are the things that we can prove here without looking up into the sky that we're moving? Because the pendulum and crap, man, that stuff is bull crap, man.
No, if you haven't done it for yourself, you haven't really studied it for yourself. Cut off YouTube. Okay. Let's cut off YouTube. Let's take YouTube out of the picture.
Study what though, bro? The claim.
It's
See,
all
this is a
bull
claim,
crap.
and it's extraordinary claims, man.
No,
The
first of all,
mile spin that you standing on is negated because the atmosphere is moving with it. You have to prove that to me.
no, hold up. First of all, let's deal with it like this. Okay, a lot of people, a lot of flat earthers want to dismiss the Foucault pendulum that rotates in opposite directions based on the hemisphere that it's in, and the latitude that it's at determines the speed at which it rotates. That's number one. Okay. Number two, and so what I'm saying, that's evidence of motion. Number two, I've already went over with you.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes, sir.
Because when I was on Reds and them, they said that we can't measure any surface speed or nothing because we're from the reference frame. We're standing on what we're referencing. So we can't measure, but the Foucault pendulum can, and that can detect the motion, and it's got the same reference frame that I do, and I can't detect the motion by looking.
Well, you only notice motion through your vestibular system that is inside your ear. Okay. All right. And this is why your equilibrium, etc., and things can be thrown off just based on having an ear infection. Okay, so your motion, you only notice motion based on the hairs or the hair-like fibers and how they move in the liquid that is in a part of your ear canal. Period. Outside of that, you do not notice motion. Okay. Now, so to compare that to a pendulum that is designed to maintain its frame of reference relative to anything outside of it, it's not an equal comparison. And this is why flat earthers dismiss us being able to be fooled that we're moving when we're not actually even moving. Because motion, you know what I mean? You can be fooled that you're moving when you're not actually moving. So to say and act like that you can't be or be moving and feel like you're not moving, I don't know. That's a contradiction to me.
See, this is where the the skepticism come in. You know, it's like with the globe, you got to sit here and believe.
No.
Give me a second.
Okay. And this is why I'm going to examples while he's on the phone. This is why I'm going to examples of external references that gives us evidence of something that we may not be able to detect. from our own personal internal frame of reference through our senses.
My bad. My fault.
Okay. But this is why I'm referring to the Foucault pendulum. Why would it rotate in different directions based on the hemisphere? And the latitude, why would it rotate at different rates of speed based on the latitude? Another thing, as I've explained to you before, dealing with the Coriolis effect and the hurricanes, or what is properly called tropical cyclones. Motion is the only logical explanation for the direction of tropical cyclones that only form further than 5 degrees away from the equator. They never form within 5 degrees of the equator. They always rotate in opposite directions 100% of the time based on the hemisphere that they're in. Then there's another effect that I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's spelled I think EOTVOS effect. I don't know. I might have spelled it wrong, but I'm just going, off of my recollection. But what the effect is the weight of a thing lightens the closer it gets to the equator. I mean, if you're for example, at sea level, of course, if you're at sea level in DC and you weigh something in DC that, for example, weighs 500 grams, at the equator, it will be lighter than 500 grams. This is an effect of motion. That's the only logical explanation for it. So what I'm saying, those are 3 examples.
Hold on. The only logical explanation for things weighing different in different areas is motion.
And of course, gravity. In coupled with gravity, but I'm just talking about sea level. I'm dealing with, if you're weighing something at sea level, okay, the only logical explanation is with a force what we call centrifugal force or centrifugal force. The closer we get to the equator, the motion is faster. Therefore, it would be at a higher centrifugal force, which will make the weight lighter.
So that's another force we got going on that we can't feel. Other than gravity.
But it's very, very minuscule. Okay? Because centrifugal force is created by, as I said to you before, RPMs, rotations per minute. That's what creates centrifugal force, which is actually the opposite of centripetal force, which is a real force. The centrifugal force is just the reaction of centripetal force, which is created by rotation.
We always probably gonna disagree on, like I said, ain't no way, in no way, shape, or form is 1,000 miles an hour slow. You can say rotations per minute all you want. It's only making 1 rotation in a day. That's a lot of land that the big ass Earth got to move to make that 1 rotation. It literally has to haul ass to make that 1 rotation because it's so big. And you standing on that, and you telling me just because the atmosphere is stuck to the Earth, like some kind of snow globe type shit, that we don't experience this. And you just have to prove it. I mean, that's a claim that you have to prove, in some type of form.
Like I just gave you 3 different examples.
Is 1,000 miles an hour fast?
If you're riding in a car going down the road, of course it's fast.
But in
Of
case
course
of the
it's
Earth,
fast.
it's not
500
fast.
miles is
See,
500 miles is fast, but when you're in an airplane, it doesn't seem like you're going that fast.
okay, that's what I'm saying. You're on the Earth. You're not out in space looking at it spin. You're on it. So you're
Yeah,
experiencing that 1,000 miles an hour because you're standing on it.
yeah, but you're not moving through the atmosphere as a car or an airplane moving through the atmosphere. You're on the Earth where the atmosphere is moving with you at a consistent rate of rotation where you should not expect, if it's at a consistent rate of rotation and a smooth rotation, you should not expect, if the atmosphere is moving with the Earth, you should not expect to feel motion.
Prove it. I mean, you have to
It's
prove
in
that the atmosphere,
mathematics.
prove that
Proof.
the atmosphere is spinning with the Earth.
I just gave you a natural example where there's no other logical explanation for it, except that the Earth is spinning. I just gave you a natural. I have yet, every time I ask a flat earther this, they never, ever. I ask D Marble, I ask Vegan Warrior, they never give an answer for this. They always divert or digress because they have no logical answer for this.
The spinning
Why?
in the different hemispheres.
The something natural that we can bear witness to. Why do tropical cyclones spin in opposite directions in opposite atmospheres 100% of the time?
I don't know. I told you before, man. I have no problem with saying I don't know this. I don't know everything, man. But
But
I say this: there's
rotation
probably an
makes
explanation. I haven't heard it yet, but there's probably one.
but
I can look into it.
rotation makes sense.
Not to me. We've kind of gotten into that, and I don't, really want to go back there. We can, but like I said, to me, the rotation all being in one direction.
So
It
if
just
that
don't make
doesn't
sense in
make
my head.
sense, how does a sun setting below the horizon make sense?
Below the
Well,
false
if it's
horizon.
rotated, if it's above a flat Earth, how does it setting below the horizon make sense?
So, like when you see a plane flying in the sky, and if it goes far, 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 far away from you, you don't see it no more, right?
Yeah, because it's a globe. We're talking about a flat Earth.
You can't see forever, man. Stuff moves away from you and disappears out of sight.
But my point is, when we see the sun setting, it ain't that it's going out of our view, it's going below the horizon.
So on a flat
There's a
Earth,
difference.
the way I'm explaining it, what would you think it would do? You would still be able to see it. Like, why? It's like asking a question. Why can't I see China from freaking, the U.S.?
No, we
It's a
dealing with
stupid question.
no, we're dealing with something that is a light source. For one, you can see light further than you can see a building, for example. The light, if the light is the same size as the building, you're gonna see the light. The building, you won't see the building, but you'll still see the light. That's number one. But my point is this: is not that the light is going out of view. The light is setting at the same angular size, which is approximately, or which is 0.53 degrees, or 32 arc minutes in size. When it sets, it's still at 32 arc minutes.
That's been argued and argued. I don't know about that one.
Okay. I mean, come on. I can bring up videos. I can bring up pictures.
I live in Florida, right? And I've seen the sun, and yeah, I know you're gonna say it's the glare. It wasn't the glare because it was setting, and it was behind some clouds, kind of. But I could see the circular disc of the sun, and it was huge, man, huge.
Man, cut it out.
I'm not okay. I mean, that's my personal opinion. You can't sit up here and tell me what the hell I've seen. It was no glare. it was setting. It had that kind of orange light to where you can look at it. And I wear sunglasses every day. I live in Florida. I wear sunglasses every day. I can look. I was sitting there going over the Destin Bridge, looking at the sun, and it was huge, man. The circular disc of the sun was huge.
Okay.
Where like when I see it at high noon, it was just a vast difference. Now, I don't know
Like
what
I
causes
said,
that or why, but
like I
it
said to
definitely
D
changed
Marble,
size.
like I said to D Marble on his video where he shows the sun appearing to get smaller. We asked him in multiple, because this was in a comment thread, asked him to, why isn't he using a filter? I've yet to see a flat earther use a solar filter when they show the sun setting or rising. Never. I have never seen a flat earther do it. Why not? It's a reason for that. If you're really seeking the truth, why wouldn't you use a solar filter? I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense if you're truly seeking the truth. I'm a realist. I'm a person that I keep it real. I ain't afraid to say anything that's going on in my life. I ain't afraid to bear witness to the truth. If I can see it, if I can see, what you're saying, I'm not afraid to admit to it. And my point is that flat earthers know that there's sun glare and it shines off of, or when it's going through the atmosphere and clouds, etc., it's going to affect the glare of the sun. Why wouldn't you use a solar filter if you're truly seeking the truth? I don't understand.
No flat earthers have put a solar filter.
I have not seen one flat earther show a sunrise or sunset video when they're trying to describe, the sun getting smaller or bigger with the solar filter. Never. All these flat earth videos, and I've never seen that. If you can point me to one, I would be happy. I would be happy to bear witness to it.
All right, I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can find one.
Okay, but back to my original point is that we see the sun going below the horizon, being cut off by the horizon. Okay, that is it. It's not the distance of the sun that's affecting my ability to see the sun. It's the horizon. It's the earth that's cutting my view off. How do I know that? Because if I elevate my position, I will see the sun again. Even if I move further away, for example, me being in Virginia Beach and being down on the beach, the hotels are behind the beach. I can see the sunset on the beach, go up in my hotel room and see the sun again, which is behind the beach. So I'm actually further away from the sun, yet I can see it after it has set for me when I'm on the beach.
So you don't think that the higher you rise, the more you can see?
That's not what I'm saying. If the earth
do
is
you
cutting
think
something
that the
off,
higher you rise, the more you can see?
not on a flat earth. If you're looking across water, now it's different if you're in a place with buildings and things of this nature. If the buildings and things that may be above your eye level is blocking your view, so of course you're going to see more. But when you're looking over flat water, there's nothing to obstruct your view from that sun. Elevation alone is not going to allow you to see more over a flat plane, except that objects are in your way that is above your eye level.
So if I'm out in the water and I'm looking out at the water and I'm level with the water, and I start rising up. You telling me I don't see more water? I can't see more surface area of that water
Yeah, because the horizon is
because I'm
further
rising
away
up.
the higher you up. That's what the globe predicts.
And the globe will predict that eventually that water would start curving, and you will only see a certain surface area of it. You wouldn't keep, you know, that surface area wouldn't keep expanding. It would start dropping off from your eyesight.
Yeah, this then that's what we see.
Mm, I don't know.
As you rise up, the horizon begins to drop. Literally. It appears to drop literally, and that is indicative of a curved surface. A horizon that is on a flat earth horizon will always be behind the object that's being viewed if the object is on the surface of the earth. So, in other words, if you have a building on the surface of a flat earth and you're viewing it, no matter how far that building is, if you can see that building, the horizon will always be behind the building
Well, hold on. Are you are
100% of
you
the time.
are you see? Because there's different people. People think about the flat Earth differently. Some people think it's endless. I don't necessarily think it's endless.
Okay.
So I don't know. I guess as high as you go, would factor in the height of it. And
Yeah.
if we are to think that, like a lot of those projections or whatever are projecting a circle. So I mean, a circle curves, but slightly.
Slightly.
Yeah, like say it was I'm not saying that it is, but say it was a disc shape. It was a flat disc, and you started rising up. You wouldn't see curvature on that. Something that looked like curvature, apparent curvature.
Hold up. Explain that again because I'm on. I want to make sure I understand. On a flat disk,
Yeah,
you
like a
would.
penny has curvature. A penny is circular, but it's not spherical,
Okay.
and there will be curvature
And you
seen
on a
on that
you're
penny.
standing like say if you're standing on heads, you're on heads. Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
big ass penny, and you start you start rising up. You would see some apparent curvature on that penny. Doesn't mean it's a sphere though.
But here's the difference. Here's the difference. Now let's take that penny, right? And let's make it 75,000 miles in circumference, right? When you rise up on that penny, your elevation height of 2 miles, for example, or 1 mile, which would be 5,280 feet. 1 mile as compared to a 12,000 mile diameter flat earth, right? The horizon, if you're looking at a building that is 40 miles away, hell, that is 10 miles away. No, I'm gonna say 40 miles because you're a mile up. So I'm gonna say 40 miles. If you're looking at a building 40 miles away, you should not, if the earth is flat, the horizon should not be in front of that building. The horizon should be behind that building.
Yeah.
Okay. But we don't see this in reality.
Huh? Maybe I'm not thinking about it the way you, but
Yeah, because the
I
building
mean,
is being cut off. The building,
so if I rode up in an airplane and there was something 40 miles, like I just don't understand.
well, you're in an airplane, you're almost 7 miles high, so the horizon is going to be a lot further away from you, right? The horizon is going to be a lot further away from you. So let me just show a visual demonstration of what I'm saying. because so we can get a better picture of what I'm saying. Okay, if you look at this, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is based on the globe. Okay, the object. I'm gonna put the distance at 5 miles away. Right. I'm gonna put the distance at 5 miles away. So now, this object, I'm gonna make it 15 feet tall. Okay, it's now 15 feet tall. Is at 5 miles away, and I'm gonna put the viewer's height. Let me see. Hold up. I might have to slide down some. I got the object size. I usually can see the viewer height. I don't see the viewer height right now. Okay, but anyway, my point is this. At 5 miles away, let me go 7 miles. At 7 miles away, we see the horizon is in front of the object. So, because we can't see the whole object. But that's based on a globe. If you look at my pointer here, it's based on the globe. But now, at the same viewer height, if we take that and make it a flat Earth, at the same distance, all the same mathematics, the horizon would be actually literally behind the object. And so what I'm saying to you is, if the Earth were flat, the horizon could not cut off the buildings because the horizon will always be behind the object that you're looking at. That's the nature of the geometry of a flat Earth.
So you're saying when they doing observations over water, that water obscuring the bottom of the buildings?
Exactly.
That's what you're trying to say?
Exactly. Unless there's some big waves.
But see, that's usually not the problem. I know it's like you go say the math's wrong, but it's like most of the cases, like you shouldn't see none of the building, man. None of it. Forget the bottom of it. You shouldn't see none of it.
See that's the problem with flat. They want to ignore anything that doesn't make sense. It's still, the point is, the building shouldn't be obscured at all. Period. We want to look over. We want to look over. Forget about the building. We shouldn't see none of it. No, the point is, or if the Earth were flat, none of it should be obscured.
No. The point is, none of it. The building should be seen.
Give me an actual example of what you're talking about, and we can deal with that.
There's plenty of them. They're all over the internet.
I mean, we can start with the Chicago skyline. Okay, at 40 miles away, you got.
Hold on.
Huh?
The mainstream news guy said it's a mirage.
Okay, but he made.
That's not something that flat earthers, you know what I'm saying, is making up or nothing. I mean,
yeah, because it's not visible. It's not visible every day.
The math probably wasn't right, so he was wrong, I guess.
No, it's because it's not visible every day. If it was something other than refraction, then it would be visible every clear day.
Yeah, but we know atmospheric conditions change every day.
Exactly. But my point is, if you're saying it's the condition of the Earth it's the shape of the Earth that allows us to see it, most clear days we will see it. But that is not the case. Huh?
You shouldn't know. Clear or not, you shouldn't see it.
But no, listen to what I'm saying. If it was the reason for you seeing it is due to the shape of the Earth, that the Earth is flat, and that's the reason why you're seeing it, then you should see it a lot more than you actually do see it. And the reason why you do see it every so often is something other than the shape of the Earth that's allowing you to see it. And we bear witness that there's a such thing called refraction. Flat earthers don't bear witness to it unless it supports their narrative.
So have you
When we
seen
say
when
it's
like
refraction, what is your argument against that?
have you seen when Rob Skiba his demonstration?
I seen him in the boat and them riding towards Chicago and the buildings rising as they get closer, which should not happen on the flat earth. The buildings are rising against the waterline. So the closer they get, the more of the building you see. Why is that happening?
But you shouldn't see none of it. It's a mirage, man.
You
He's
say,
just proving that it wasn't a mirage, that they were actually seeing the buildings. That's what he was proving.
how much of the, you know how tall those buildings are?
No.
Okay. All right. See, that's the thing. When we are dealing with how I'm gonna see if I can get to, because Walter Bislin, he made this app where I'm showing you that the horizon should always be behind the object that you're viewing. He also made something that shows you the very same Chicago skyline that you're referring to, that Walter's or Rob Skiba took the boat on, okay? And he shows what we would expect to see on a globe Earth and what we would expect to see on a flat Earth. Okay, Chicago skyline. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Now, and of course, that's where the news reporter you're talking about right there, and it even got Rob Skiba. Rob Skiba proves Chicago skyline isn't a mirage. Oh shucks, I can't. Now, but first, before I try to find Walter Bislin, you can look at it and tell it's a mirage, or it's refraction going on, because the top of this building right here, in proportion to the building and the other buildings beside it, is not that long. But on this picture, it looks elongated. That in and of itself, we know that without a doubt, that building, the top of that building in proportion to itself and the other buildings is not that long like that. So it's being elongated. Okay, so that is not only evidence, but that is facts. That is being elongated. That's facts. Now, okay.
Elongated or like bent up around the curve to where you can see it?
No, I'm saying if you look at the building itself, you bear witness that it's being elongated just by looking at it, not even knowing refraction. Just looking at it, you know it's being elongated. So you know it's some effect there happening. But let's go here. This is Walter Bislin's examples of what we expect to see on the Chicago skyline. Now, the left side is the flat earth, the right side is the globe. Now, now I'm gonna just let it play, let the little demonstration play. Okay, that's zooming in on the skyline from a certain distance, and as you move up at a certain height, what you would expect to see. Notice the horizon is behind the buildings on the flat earth side.
Yeah,
but on the globe side, it's not. The water is in front of the buildings.
Yeah, that's what I see on the left side. Like I said, in my experiences, when I fly and stuff like that, the left side happens, not the right side.
You cannot tell me that you're seeing now wherever anything that you see, we're dealing with from the surface of the earth now. I'm not talking about from a plane. Okay, because a plane, the horizon is so far away from a plane when you're 35,000 feet above the surface of the earth, that your eyes, unless you got some binoculars or something, you would not be able to really notice something beyond that horizon. But when you're on the surface of the earth, your horizon, if you're 6 feet above the surface of the earth, we know that the horizon is no more than 3.12 miles away from your eyes. So the horizon is pretty much close to you, but yet you can see buildings that are beyond the horizon, which on the flat earth, the horizon is always behind the buildings.
But the horizon you're seeing in front of it, like in this example, is just the water, man.
Yeah, that's what we see in reality. The left side is what
but
we
as
should
soon as
see
you
in
start
reality.
lifting up, that horizon will change, right?
Yeah, that's
It'll be
indicative of a
behind the
globe.
buildings.
But that's indicative of a globe. The higher
No.
you rise, the more you see.
You rising up, like when you played that, the height went up. When you rising up, the left side happens. The right side don't happen, man. The horizon drops behind those buildings as you rise up.
Okay, let me do this. I'm because like I said, this example is based. Let me just go to just the globe model. This example is based on a globe. Okay, so if we elevate height, right? Let's elevate the height. Yeah, you elevate the height. This is on the globe now. You elevate the height, the horizon will be around behind the buildings because you're high enough. Okay, let me see what it is in feet because I'm not a metric guy. Let me see if he got it where you can put it. I don't see where you can change this from the metric system. Okay, but it's 1,600 meters in height. Okay, so yeah, the horizon would be behind the buildings on the globe. So if you're in an airplane and you're looking at most things you look at on the surface from an airplane, the horizon is going to be behind it. Why? Because the horizon is so far away from your eyes that the buildings that you can see beyond the horizon, you probably couldn't see them anyway. You probably couldn't really make them out or really notice a difference. You can't see
forever, man. You have limitations.
We understand that part, but flat earthers is taking that to justify you not being able to see beyond the horizon. Okay, but the sun setting is 6,000 miles away from your eyes, but yet you see the sun. If it's setting in our summertime, the sun is over 6,000 miles away from your eyes, right? But you can still see it. Okay, so it's not just how far you can see. It depends on the angular size of the object that you're looking at. It depends on what you're looking through. The effects of the atmosphere. If you're looking through, there's a lot of bad weather, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of effects of that affect how far you can see.
The claim will have to be that every single flat earther that has ever done any, measurements over distance, they're just getting their math wrong. Every single one of them. Even factor in height, observer height and all that, they still getting it wrong. Something's not right.
Well, the thing is what you're saying. For example, now if I lower my height.
Hold on, because let me bring it back to the pathological liars. I'm supposed to believe them, but not somebody that's just trying to question, go on a quest by questioning the powers that be, which they're justified in because of all the fuckery going on. I just want to bring this home to you. This is why there's flat earthers in 2018 is because of what's going on.
Well, it's not, but it's not just what's going on, because I mean, you have conspiracy theorists, right? And don't trust the government one iota. That don't mean they believe in a flat earth.
That's true.
Okay. All right. So my point is, and I'm talking about people that have looked into the flat earth narrative and still don't believe in the flat earth, even though they're conspiracy theorists.
That's fine.
Okay. Because I'm a person that's a conspiracy. I believe in
I don't believe every conspiracy theory, man.
I believe in a lot of conspiracies, but I mean, the flat earth conspiracy, nah. Okay. But this, what I got up on the screen right here, at a height of 6,600 meters, the horizon is still, no matter what your height is, you can be at 6 feet or 6,600 meters. The horizon will always be behind whatever object you can see.
Hold on. So this is both of these images are from the same height, right?
Exactly.
But one the horizon's is on the globe, in front of those buildings. So
the right is the globe, the left is flat earth.
That's what I'm saying. The horizon is in front of those buildings on the globe earth. But that's not what we see as we rise. It's behind the buildings.
Okay. This is.
What am I not getting, man? What am I not seeing? Oh, is that horizon in front of those buildings?
But I'm saying, no matter how high you is, if you're on the surface of the earth at 6 feet, the horizon will still be behind whatever you're viewing. It can never be in front of it. No matter what your height is.
Why are y'all treating the water that's in front of the buildings as the horizon? It's not the horizon.
The buildings, if I lower the height, the buildings will be cut off. Okay, if I take this down 100 meters, let's see if we can still see. Let me go to 560.
That's what I'm saying. You just said it yourself. If the water that's in front of that's blocking off the bottom of the buildings, that's not the horizon. You just said that yourself. So why are y'all treating it as the horizon?
No, the horizon. It is the horizon. What you mean? Who said it wasn't the horizon?
But you just said that it wasn't the horizon.
I said the horizon is
always going to be behind the buildings, is what you just said. But it's when you this picture right here, it's in front of the buildings.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. On the globe, the water line, the horizon, based on your height. If your height dictates that, if you're looking at an object that is a certain distance away from you, and based on your height, if your eye level is predicted on the globe that the horizon would be, for example, 5 miles away from you, and you're viewing buildings that are 10 miles away from you, then that water line will be in front of the buildings. But my point is, on a flat earth, no matter what your height is, that water line would not, or the horizon, which is one and the same in this case, would not be in front of the buildings. No matter how low your height, if I go 360 meters, that horizon will never come in front of the buildings. If I go 260 meters, that horizon will still be behind those buildings. If I go 160 meters, that horizon is still behind the buildings. If I go 60 meters, the horizon is still behind the buildings. Yet on the globe, the buildings are almost covered up. But on the flat earth, the horizon is still behind the buildings. And that's what I'm saying. If the earth is flat, whatever buildings you're observing on the surface of the earth, further than your horizon, the horizon, in other words, the horizon can never be in front of the buildings. I don't care what your height is.
The water line is not the horizon.
Bro.
It's not.
In this case,
if that was the horizon, why are you even calling it a water line? Like, why are you even determining that? Because it's not the horizon.
Bruh. On a globe, once the buildings are being cut off, the water line becomes the horizon on a globe. On a flat earth, that water line is not going to be a water line. The water line is going to always be behind the buildings. I mean, where the buildings is not going to be on the water. So if the buildings are, if we're seeing the buildings, of course, the water line on the flat earth is not the horizon because the horizon will always be behind it.
I don't see it like that. But
okay, but what are you basing it on?
I mean, because just think about it, like as soon as you just rise a little bit, do you still see the water line? But is that the horizon?
Yeah, because you don't see nothing else behind it.
I don't see it like that.
Except that it's above your eye level.
So if you just went 360 a little bit, you know what I'm saying? You saying I couldn't see the horizon?
Huh? I'm confused with what you're saying.
The water line and the horizon are two different things.
Yeah, but they can be the same thing dependent. In this case on the right, the water line and the horizon is one and the same. Okay? They're one and the same. Okay. On this other side, that horizon line that we see right here, it may not be water. So no, it's not one and the same. But the horizon.
But if there was water in front of those buildings, right, and you looking straight on at it, kind of like how it is right now.
Okay.
Is the water line the horizon?
On which side? The left side?
The left side. If there was water in front of those buildings.
But the water, it is water in front of those
buildings. Okay.
That's my point. Is that, first of all, we notice that the buildings are not being obstructed. That's number one. Number two, we notice that the horizon.
Obstruction is not curvature, man. That doesn't mean it's curving.
No, but what I'm saying is if the earth was flat, we would not expect to see obstruction.
Excuse me.
Unless, like I said, that there's things that is above your eye level that is in front of what you're viewing. If the things are not above your eye level, if it's below your eye level, they should not obstruct you from seeing it on a flat earth. If what you're viewing is above your eye level and what is obstructing it is below your eye level, there's nothing logically outside of, I mean, but if the wave comes, if a wave big enough, then
waves, atmospheric conditions, all that good stuff.
It can be above your eye level. But my point here is clear. The horizon should always be behind the object that you're viewing if the earth were flat. It should never obstruct anything. The horizon shouldn't.
All right.
That's my whole point.
It's a globe, man.
Man. Okay.
Nah, man, I just don't.
You know.
So what's this?
Well,
the Soundly.
This is Soundly's observation, and it is, you know, Walter Bisner. Walter Bisner is very talented with his modeling, and he's showing what Soundly was able to observe on multiple days, from multiple angles, and he compares this to actual photos of Soundly. Okay, he goes back, he shows different angles of Soundly's observations as we would expect on a globe. Okay, looks virtually the same, but what he's modeling is based on the geometry of the heliocentric globe model, and him doing it in a program based on the heliocentric globe model is size measurements, and then showing how.
Looking at this, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
But me looking at it, man, in my head, all you got, if you're gonna say that that's the curve of the earth, right there. All I gotta do is start rising up, and I ain't even gonna have to rise up high, bro. That's got to keep curving, and I don't think that matches observation. But like that would make the earth look smaller than it really is. Like if you just start rising up from that position, if you saying that's curve,
that's what I hear every flat earther argue against Stanley's observations. But here's the problem with that argument. Number one, the photos that Stanley has taken are compressed photos. So the zoom, you're looking over a distance of over 22 miles. Okay. Now, so the compression exaggerates.
That's fine. That's
the curve. Number one. Okay. Number two, on a globe, if you're using what flat earthers like to use, 8 inches per mile squared, right?
Well, look, in terms of like, I use that, but I only use it in terms of you think that water curves at 8 inches per mile squared. That has to. Like, that's what you think. I'm not saying that I don't use it in like my observations because I know you got to factor in height and all that. But as far as your critical thinking mind, you think that water curves at 8 inches per mile squared because it has to.
I think
observation completely like out the window. You think that water does that, and it's like, that's what I just have a problem with. That's just my logical conclusion on things. Just like, air pressure without a container. It's logic, that y'all got to prove, gas pressure without the container. It's logic that the water's laying flat. Y'all got to prove that water curves at a certain clip like that. The spin, it sounds good on paper, but prove it to me in an experiment. There's no proof, man. There's really no proof. An experiment style proof. It's all observations. I want the experiments, man. I want to see, and I guess it's, it's always impossible when it comes to like things like gravity. Just got to believe it. Can't prove it, got to believe it.
Stanley has shown observations of curving water. Number one. Number two, I've shown you this picture here of water curving, right? That's water curving. How do we know? Well, we can take that same picture and compress it. Just as Stanley views compress it on a, going away from you, this is compressed from side to side. It's the same photo.
Right.
Okay. But when you compress it, you see that the bubble level is still, it's not curving, but yet the water line is curving. That's curved water right there.
All right, bro. So what's stopping the water from running downhill naturally like it would want to? Gravity's holding all the water, and it's stopping it from running downhill too.
Well, first of all, let me say this. Your body has, your body's from the earth. The bone is from the rock of the earth. Your flesh is from the dust or the dirt of the earth. And your blood is from the water of the earth. Okay? The systems in your body, right? Blood travels up and down in your body, right?
Right.
You have a heartbeat that pumps the blood throughout your body. Now, no, I ain't gonna go there with that. I'm just gonna mess with you for a minute. You know, the earth is a living thing. Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And the water system is like our circulatory system. Okay. But no, but anyway, back to, you know, my point is this. You're saying what's keeping water from flowing downhill? You're referring to, when you say downhill, you're not referring to necessarily downhill. You're referring to it as going from north to south. Is that correct? When
Yeah,
you were talking
practically,
about
if I
downhill.
pour water on a ball, it's gonna run downhill on that ball.
Yeah, it's going to run down towards the biggest force of gravity that's attracting it. Water has no power of its own. It is subject to outside forces. Okay, whether it's a container, whether it's gravity, whether it's any force that is causing it static electricity, as you can
Gravity.
take, if you can take, as you can take a comb and comb your hair, for example, and put it next to running water, and that running water will curve. Okay, so water is
That's proof of electromagnetic static. You know
no.
what I'm
My
saying?
point is that water is subject to outside forces. That's just an example of it being subject to outside forces. I showed you a video last time we were on of someone dropping a box from you know, above the surface, at least 30 feet above the surface of the earth, and how the water formed into a sphere from being within a cup, as you say, flat in a cup, but yet when it was dropped, it formed a sphere. And my point is
All
that
right.
that water is subject to outside forces. Now, when we get to the earth and water being on the earth, we bear witness already that water is subject to outside forces. So if the earth is spherical in shape and there is gravity, why would we expect water not to do what we bear witness is doing? If the heliocentric model is true, why would you expect something different? If
If gravity
gravity
is
is
real
true, why would you expect to see something different than what you're seeing on the earth?
and gravity is pulling all the water towards the center of the earth.
Towards the center of gravity. Correct. Why would you expect to see something different? And if the heliocentric model is true, how would you expect to demonstrate it on top of the earth? Can you give me a would we if the heliocentric, let's take, because you're asking me to show a demonstration outside of the example I showed you last time with the person dropping the box, for example. How, if the heliocentric model is in fact true, tell me how would you expect to see a demonstration on top of the earth?
How would I demonstrate gravity if it's true?
No, water curving.
Okay, how would I demonstrate water curving
If the heliocentric model is true? Just say you know for a fact it is true. How would you demonstrate water curving on top of the earth?
bodies like a body of water?
Yeah.
How would I demonstrate it?
Yeah, because you're asking me to demonstrate it. So tell me, how would you demonstrate it?
You should be able to demonstrate it though.
How?
Well, I can demonstrate water lying flat.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I said if the heliocentric model is true, how would you demonstrate water curving?
I don't know. It's not up to me to do.
Okay, that's my point. So why would you ask for something within the model that we would not expect in the model to be able to be demonstrated by the parameters of a flat earther? Why would you even ask
Why
that?
could I demonstrate water curving?
But I did show you a video demonstrating water curving though. I did do that.
The ball.
Yeah.
The little ball of water after you drop it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that water's not feeling no force. It's not feeling no type of inertial forces, even though it's in a box. It's still not feeling, and you wouldn't feel that. That's what I'm saying. It's like, how you gonna explain all these forces going on, but you don't feel nothing?
Well, you don't feel gravity pulling on you until you jump off, until you
Like you
until
would
you jump
expect,
out a window.
if gravity wasn't here, you would expect to like just float.
Yeah.
That's
If
why.
there's
That's
no
what I didn't
gravity,
get.
if there's no
Like,
gravity,
dude, you're denser than the air, man. You're not gonna float anywhere.
if there's no gravity, yeah.
Why would you expect to float? That's just what you didn't learn. It's like you're denser than the air. You're sinking right now.
If
The only
you're
thing
in
that's
a,
stopping you from continue to sink is the floor.
just like when you're in an airplane, a zero gravity airplane, you're doing a zero gravity drop, just like you're floating in the plane or appearing to float, but you're falling. We would expect that if you're in a place of zero gravity.
But the water's not though. You can go out and swim in that water and smack that water around all you want. It's not in
Ex,
that state.
but my point is, when I gave you the example of the demonstration of the box being dropped with the water in it, it's showing the water still curving without a container. That's number one.
And you can
Number
observe that water and the forces in it, how it keeps. You can we'll be able to observe that water and see those forces acting upon that water. So is that the waves? The waves is making the curves?
It's not the waves, it's the center of
Come
gravity.
on, bro.
I
You've
don't
been
know why
to a
it's
lake or
hard.
something like that and seen it where it looks like a sheet of ice when it's undisturbed.
Okay.
So where's the curve? Why isn't that curving?
It
And if the
is
Earth's
curving. What
moving,
are you talking
why
about?
the properties of like liquids and stuff. All you got to do, like I got a bottle of water on my desk here. All I got to do is just tap that water just a little bit, and it's gonna move. So I can go out to a lake. You saying this, speeds going on, rotations going on, we revolving around the sun. I can go out to the lake. I work by the water, man. I see it all the time. Sheet of ice, still, no movement. Even though the Earth's moving and the water is on the Earth, that water can be still like that with all this movement going. It's like shit like that, man. I just can't believe
Why
it.
can't it? Hold up. This is what I'm. Why
Because
can't
it's
it be
constant
still?
motion.
Why
I
can't?
know what you're
My
gonna
question
say.
to you:
It's
why
constant
can't
motion.
it be
But
still?
you gotta believe that, yo. That's a belief. The globe is a
Well, just
belief.
like you believe that there's an object covering the moon or putting shade
Yeah, that's my
on the
belief.
moon, but you have absolutely no evidence for that.
Nope.
There is evidence of Earth's water, the water on Earth curving.
Where is it at?
I just showed you a picture of Soundly.
Oh, a picture from Sally.
I just showed you a picture of a bubble level and curve of water. You have to bear witness that that water looked like it was curved. I just showed you a picture of that. Flat earthers say, show me the curve, and then when you show it, then they ignore it.
All right,
It's
man.
either CGI or
So water does
how
curve.
big is the earth if it's curving that much in this little bit of space?
So
The point is,
curves.
I showed you
Water
curves.
curves. Water curves. Air pressure can exist without a barrier. You
Why
are
can't it?
literally moving faster than the speed of sound right now. Can't see it or experience it. Gravity's pulling you down to the earth. You can't fit. I mean, it's just all it's a laundry list of beliefs, man.
Water pressure exists next to air,
You're
right?
talking about gas pressure though.
My point
You
is,
show me gas pressure, without a container existing next to a void. You
but
just show it to me.
you're saying that it's the same thing as me taking water out of the ocean and putting it up in a glass, like
No,
you
it's
said
not.
in your container, and it existing.
No, it's not.
It's the same
It's
difference.
not the same. So gas and liquid is same. It's the same.
What I'm saying is just as water pressure can exist next to us in the atmosphere or in the air, atmosphere can exist next to a vacuum. And we bear
Prove it.
witness to that because as you rise in water, the water pressure is less. And as you rise in atmosphere, the atmospheric pressure is less. It's the same comparison.
No, because no. Gas pressure, you literally have to have something for those gas molecules to be bouncing off of to create the pressure. They can't just be bouncing off of each other. That's it. They have to have a container to bounce off of to create pressure. The fact that you're experiencing pressure is a testament that those molecules are bouncing off of something to create that pressure. So what is it bouncing off of?
My question to you, if at the bottom of the ocean, how can you demonstrate? How can you demonstrate water pressure existing the way we bear witness that it exists at sea level? How can you demonstrate that at the bottom of the ocean? How would you do that?
Say it one more time.
Okay. You're asking me.
Because you're talking about water and we're talking about gas, but go ahead.
Pressure is pressure. Okay. Pressure is pressure. You're asking me on the surface of the earth to demonstrate having air pressure exist next to non-air pressure or a vacuum. And I'm asking you to demonstrate this at the bottom of an ocean or water, to demonstrate it at the bottom of a pool. Okay? Water pressure existing next to an atmosphere. Can you do that?
Water pressure.
Just put some atmosphere in the box. Take it to the bottom of your
ocean. Okay.
And open that box up and show me that exists next. That water not fill that box up.
That's okay. You're proving my point, man.
No, I'm proving my point. The box,
you wouldn't be able to even have an experiment. You had to have a container to go down there and do the experiment. Okay. And even if you just poke the hole, we're talking about water now, but even if you just poked a hole in that box, the water would probably just leak in slowly, or it might be so much pressure that it just, explodes the thing. But why isn't that happening to the earth if there's no barrier?
You're asking me to demonstrate air pressure next to a vacuum. In order to do that, a container has to be involved to demonstrate it on Earth. Right. To demonstrate it in the ocean, a container has to be involved.
A container always has to be involved with pressure.
No, but
gas
we bear witness that the top of the sea, the top of the ocean doesn't have to be contained, yet the atmosphere is existing next to it.
All right, man.
The water is not jumping up into the atmosphere.
That's water.
So why would you expect the atmosphere to jump up into the vacuum?
That's a liquid. We're talking about gas, man. Gas behaves different than liquids. And that liquid has an air pressure on top of it.
And this atmosphere has atmospheric pressure on top of it.
So where's the barrier? How is that existing?
It doesn't need a barrier. It has gravity.
See?
It doesn't need a barrier.
All right, bro. You prove it, man. Just prove that. That's what I'm saying. That's not logical. The logic is, and what can be proven is, you need a barrier. The burden of proof is on the globe. That's all flat earthers is doing. Is just asking questions, man.
You saying something like that, not being logical, is it's like saying, hold up, is the same thing, or is actually a lot worse when you deal with a moon that you say we don't know what it is, a sun We don't know what it is yet.
Theories are fine, man. I'm not
on,
mad at people being theoretical. It's when you know, my son got to go to school and learn it as fact, and that's when it's a problem. If you want to say it's a theory, that's fine. You know, but don't teach it to me and my family as fact.
But the Earth being a globe is not a theory. Gravity may be a theory, but the Earth being a globe is not a theory.
All right. I'm gonna look into this geocentric belief and poke some holes in that too, probably. But
see,
I don't know their whole
look what you're saying
idea or whatever.
You talking about poking holes in the geocentric model, and you ain't even looked into it yet. Wow.
Well, like I said, I trust not only what I can see, but my own recognizance. I trust my own self.
But I just showed you curved water with the bubble level. What do you say about
that? Okay. I mean, who took that picture? What kind of camera were they using? What kind of lens were they using?
No, I'm talking about if you took it. You can take it.
I don't have a lot of time to do all this stuff, man. All these observations.
You're accepting this as a wholehearted belief.
I don't have to believe that water is level, man. I don't have to believe that. I have to believe that it curves. I don't have to believe when I walk out my door that I'm not moving. I would have to believe that I am moving. You see, this is a belief, man.
Well, flat Earth is full of belief.
And plus, you'll sit here and say stuff like, "Oh man, I don't know if they land on the moon," but it's like just trust them, just blindly trust them.
Oh no,
it's dangerous, bro.
I don't even talk about the moon landing. That's not my.
Why not?
I'm talking about things
we pay tax money. We pay tax money to get that done. Why not talk about it?
No, I'm talking about we're dealing with flat Earth, globe Earth, moon landing.
Oh, has nothing. They didn't confirm everybody. That wasn't a confirmation. Taking a damn picture of the Earth, that wasn't a confirmation. For people's minds, think about people's minds, man.
We can deal with what we can observe. We can focus. We can limit the conversation to what we have the ability to observe for ourselves to demonstrate whether the Earth.
All right, so forget gravity, right? Forget trying to prove gravity on Earth because it's impossible. Prove.
No, it's not. It's not impossible.
Yes, it is. Prove that start a treadmill, have that treadmill enclosed with the atmosphere going over top of it, and then stand on it and prove that it would turn into 0 miles an hour for you. Like, just prove it, man.
Gravity can be the idea, the theory of gravity can actually, you can show evidence on Earth for gravity. It's not hard. You can do it yourself.
If you want to call whatever attraction is going on between the things existing here on Earth,
you can't. It's mass.
You can
show that you can eliminate many factors. You can depending on what you're using, you can eliminate factors, and the only thing you will have left is mass.
So you don't believe in the electromagnetic presence that you can prove?
But you
can prove that. You know what I'm saying? You can't prove gravity. You can prove that there's that electromagnetic presence, and it can affect things that aren't necessarily magnetic.
Prove how much it affects things that are not magnetic. How can you prove that? Prove that.
I told you haven't looked into, just the relationship with copper and magnets. Copper's not magnetic, but it has a relationship with magnets. You and us, I believe, have a relationship with the magnetic world that we live in. It's slight, and this is the attraction and that we're seeing with stuff. But I think that's it.
Yeah, I gotta get ready to go. But that. Like I said, when you're dealing with electromagnetism, when you're dealing with density and buoyancy, when you're dealing with gravity, all of those things, okay, you can demonstrate certain things. Well, buoyancy needs gravity. That's a part of the definition of buoyancy. But my point here is that we can go back and forth about what this or that is based on what somebody else is saying, or we can focus on what we can observe for ourselves, even if we haven't observed it for ourselves, but we can observe these things for ourselves, and we can determine for ourselves if the earth is spherical in shape or it is flat. These are things we can do ourselves. We don't have to depend on anybody else outside of our immediate environment to do these observations that we can make. I know you like to say that you don't want to look in the sky, but that is part of how we know that the earth is not flat. So all I'm saying is from the earth, looking at things on the earth and looking at things in the sky, we can deduce with basic logic, basic understanding of geometry, and determine that the earth, without a doubt, is not flat and points to a being spherical in shape.
If you say so, man. It was a nice conversation. Good talking to you. I just my aim, like I said, it ain't. I don't have to debate nobody. I ain't trying to. I don't got no list of points I'm sitting here going over or nothing with you. I just want to have a conversation. Like I said, I think it's justified because of the shit show that's going on outside of our doors. It's justified for people to question the nature of their existence. There's nothing wrong with it. And flat
I
earthers
don't
shouldn't
see
be
nothing
looked
wrong
down
with question.
upon because NASA getting 50, whatever billions and billions and trillions of dollars to do what, man? To do what? Who cares? Who cares? We could use that money, to cure the ills of the world. Some of them, at least. Forget going into space and landing probes on the sun and this and whatnot. Who cares? This is the problem. That's what flat earthers is about. And I just don't think it's the spin. I don't know if it's flat or not. I don't even like being called a flat earther for real. I'm just anti establishment and anti what they telling me. And it's not no daggone spinning, ball in space with the sun in the center. That's
Now,
not what it is.
If you, what would you say if you were taking up 62 miles above the earth and seeing the earth as see the curve definitively of the earth, not where it appears to be curved, but kind of,
you saying seeing it as a sphere? If it was proven to me, I told you I got no problem with coming back on. Like I said, I don't even like being called a flat earther. I just think it's not what they telling me.
Okay, well,
and it's justified.
Well, like I said, I mean, in flat earthers, willy-nilly dismiss what's going on now, but a lot of money privately. I ain't even dealing with governmentally in different countries, but privately is being put into space travel. Okay.
They wasted their money.
Yeah. Okay. You can say whatever you want to say. We can make our mouth say anything, as I was told. But the point is, they are putting private companies that is not funded by governments are putting a lot of money into space travel. Okay.
SpaceX a private company?
SpaceX is a private company.
Okay.
Virgin Galactic is but they got NASA contracts though.
Right.
SpaceX
NASA gonna put they gonna get
they have NASA contracts, but Virgin Galactic, owned by Sir Richard Branson.
Okay. I've looked up Virgin Galactic pictures and they look just as fake.
No, but the point is that they're not just doing stuff and the public won't be able to participate. They're testing things so that people can actually go on these space flights. But the closest to public space exploration is actually Jeff Bezos. Okay. With he owns Amazon and he has a space company. And they seem to be the closest to actually having public space travel. Okay. Which, like I said, that's why I said 62 miles up, because it will be taking you approximately 62 miles up. And anyway, that's coming near. That'll be here soon. But I wish I had more time. I'm about to get my girl going, man.
Yeah, man. So it was good talking to you, man. Appreciate the time and the conversation.
Yeah, sir. I always like talking to you. Maybe we can do this next week at the same time, maybe.
Yeah, like I said, flat Earth ain't just got to be about flat Earth. Flat Earth embodies a whole lot. So,
but that's why I put other topics up there.
Right.
So, I will definitely be in contact with you, and we'll talk to each other soon.
All right, Jermaine. Take it easy, man.
Okay, take it, man. All right.